And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the final Rook Club, where we are diving into one of the best stories in Tevinter Nights, the Dreadwolf Take You, and I have a phenomenal cast joining me today. I will go around the room and everybody can say hi, starting with Lisa.
Hello.
Venom.
Hey there.
Lucas.
Hallo.
Emily.
Hello.
And DeCaster.
Hi.
Hello, everybody, and we literally have 8 days until the Veilguard. How are we all coping? I can see chat is already screaming. Chat, do you like my wig? I will share no context besides the fact that, Golden Girl, that I am an Orlesian bard for today. That's all I will say. But folks, how are we feeling about the fact that the Veilguard is 8 days away? Are we excited? Are we worried? Are we going to let ourselves play this game before we build up any too many feelings about it? What are we feeling? How are we feeling?
The best part of living in Germany is that the 1st of November is a holiday, so I can just play all weekend.
Hey, oh,
Ooh,
spot on.
nice.
Yeah,
It's glorious.
glorious.
I've taken a week off.
I'm strangely calm.
About a week.
Strangely calm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, very calm, very contented. I'm just happy that it's here. I feel like everything can finally just breathe a bit. I don't have to anticipate anything. It's here.
Hell yeah.
So-
Hell yeah. And then DeCaster, how are you feeling?
It doesn't feel real now that we're this close.
Yeah.
I feel like all the anticipation and the excitement that we've all been feeling this entire time. It's 8 days away, and I've just kind of gone numb.
Oh, flipping heck. It's 8 days away. No, it's insane. And
Honestly, same. Yeah.
I've still got this
Same.
weekend, which is quite big because I'm going to Comic-Con. So I'm still thinking about like
Yes.
other things ahead of that. But once I get back on
Mhm.
Monday, it will be like, oh shit, the game's coming out on Thursday. And we do get reviews on Monday. I don't know what outlets are doing what. I don't know what the press embargo really is, but we actually get reviews. I will have a look at the articles. I won't look at the videos, but we're getting a genuine impression of what people in the games industry think about this game from a fair point of playing it. So, you know, hopefully we're in for a good, exciting week, you know?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
kind of
you
curious
little
about
shit.
the reviews, but I'm not sure how much they're allowed to reveal, and I still kind of
Yeah.
want to try to go in without
Yeah.
any spoilers. so-
Same. So I'm going to read
Yeah.
the articles. Lucas, what's the little shit?
The little cat on my lap is a little shit because she kept clawing into my foot now.
Oh, she wants the Veilguard. She's trying to tell you something.
Definitely.
No, I'm excited. Again, it won't hit me until Monday. But like the fact that it's in, like I said 2 days ago, 10-year wait for a game that's coming in 10 days. How insane! And it really is insane. It hasn't quite struck me yet. I'm hopefully going to meet Alex Jordan over the weekend and say hi to him. I have made him a friendship
Oh, yeah.
bracelet. Hopefully he'll accept it. But I think
Did you put an AirTag in it?
Is that again?
Did you put an AirTag in it?
An attic?
You can follow him.
No. It says Dragon Age Taylor's version.
Oh my god,
I know.
iconic.
If he accepts it, I'll be a very humbled man.
I don't see why he wouldn't. So
No, I know.
I mean-
know.
Right?
I know certain other casts accept
Yeah. No, I hope
that
so.
we discussed, so
yeah,
be fine.
Yeah. No, I do hope
But
so.
I think I'm in the same boat as you. I don't think it's quite hit me. I feel kind of not ambivalent. What is like kind of
Ooh,
floating?
that's
Like
good.
I'm floating. Like I'm
Yeah?
floating.
Yeah.
There's a floaty feeling. And so I'm no longer stressed about the chapter because that's out. Anyone can go read
Yay.
it and read my horrific run-on sentences because commas are my friend. And I'm not good at committing to a period. But anyway, yeah, I don't know if I'll actually get to play it on the 31st
Yeah.
because I have plans that day. And
Shame
believe
on
it or
you.
not, I feel contented to wait till
Yeah.
November.
yeah.
So
Ow.
It could never be me.
I mean, it is Halloween as well. We're all talking, and then we can just hear, ow, little shit in the
Ow,
back.
She just kind of She went into a liquid form and just slid off my lap, but she also clawed into my leg while sliding off. I just dragged her
Oh.
nails all across my
This
thigh.
is Lucas's cat chat, so everybody can see. What's the cat called
So
again,
cute.
Lucas?
That particular cat is called Ellie, which is
Oh.
short for mozzarella.
I
Wow.
like it.
Oh, look
Good
her
cheese.
toe beans.
Dobbies! Ah!
Oh, she's gorgeous.
She is lovely. Lindsay, it still doesn't feel real, but at the same time, I'm so anxious and excited all the time because I know logically I'll be playing it this week, but it still doesn't feel like I will be. Literally, it's 8 days away. The only thing I'm annoyed at the fact that it comes out 4 p.m. UK time, so on Thursday next week, I'm like, what am I going to be doing? But I'll try not to, freak out. I'm sure I'll think of something to do, or stream or whatever. But no, we're so close. It hasn't hit me yet, as you can probably tell. Otherwise, I would be freaking out.
Stock up on snacks and.
That's
Yeah.
true. I need to go to Lidl or Aldi and buy loads and loads and loads of frozen hash browns with Heinz beans inside of them and eat them forever and ever and ever and ever.
You peasant.
Oh boy.
I mean,
Go on, DeCaster. Defend me, DeCaster.
I mean, I feel like if you know, you know. It speaks for itself. Beige life,
It's
It's
true. Some of us in the UK
Well,
are
Jack, you guys-
still living like it's World War II. What was that, Emily?
We
Yeah,
are
I
the nation-
noticed.
Hand out candy. I mean, do you get much trick or treaters?
Ooh, potentially. Yeah,
You
potentially.
filthy demon. Be right back.
Lucas is practicing his lines already.
I mean, that's my plan at least. And then I think there's like a museum party later that night. That's my plan anyway.
Oh, that sounds fun.
I'm gonna dress up as things you would find in a museum. So I think I'm gonna be like
yeah?
a taxidermy bird or something.
That's
That's cool.
sick. Oh my goodness.
Because I have sort of a crow costume. But
That is
I guess I can
sick.
represent the crows.
You can.
Yeah, it's like a bodycon dress, but it's all black feathers. So I think that's what I'm gonna wear. I'll just be a
Wow.
Very cool.
That is
dead
so
bird.
cool.
That is very cool.
Oh, hell
well,
yeah.
thanks. We'll see if it actually works out though.
I
We'll
think it
see.
will. Yeah, yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hand out beans to little trick-or-treaters. That's what I'll do.
Oh, I'm sure they'll be so happy.
I mean, Jack, does jelly beans, do they count as beans for you?
They could do. Oh, they could
There
do.
you go.
Oh, that's a good...
So then it
They'll be like,
has to
oh,
be
we've got some
beans
jelly beans. I
and
love
tomato
jelly beans.
sauce.
And I'm like, yeah,
Jelly
jelly
beans
beans.
and
Yeah,
tomato
yeah. Jelly beans covered in tomato sauce.
Hello.
Yes. I'm going to show chat the fit. So the character that I am portraying is supposed to wear an Elysian mask. And I tried to create a mask of paper, but it didn't have the same effect because I didn't want to scare you all and look like an absolute serial killer while doing this. But this is the mask that we tried to do.
Show them.
It doesn't really work though as an Elysian. But
Yeah, no, it would be very peasant in Orlais.
It would be the most. Well, I mean that's Solas. So, oh, spoiled it. That would suit the character that we are portraying. I am portraying.
The mysterious character that nobody knows who they are.
That character. No. Who? Hobos. There are loads. There are loads of hobos in Dragon Age. What are you talking about? There isn't that one particular person who's is a particularly hobo-enough. But yeah.
Well, actually, Jack, isn't it on brand? Because isn't there a quote in Dragon Age or somewhere that says that the Dreadwolf comes in many forms or many faces or many guises? Like
And
there's an
many-
actual quote or something.
Yeah, many guys. Exactly. See, Emily out here
So
supporting
there you
me
go.
with
You're on
hard
brand.
law. Yeah, hard law. Chat is saying it's very Halloweeny. It really is. Yeah, so we're all excited for Veilguard. We don't have long to wait. And we have reached the end of Rook Club in regards to Tevinter Nights for now. So what we'll do, folks, is we're going to jump straight into this. This is the best story in the Veilguard. In Tevinter Nights, one of the best, definitely for lore reasons and what it sets up. So without further ado, for the last time for a while, get your tea or a beverage or a wine or some cheese or whatever it is that you would like to indulge in as we dive into the last Tevinter Nights story, setting up the Veilguard. And yeah, we will jump straight into this one. Okay, let us commence. So, The Dreadwolf Take You by Trix Weeks. The building sat hunched near the docks of Hunterfell, as though hoping not to be noticed. A hornless Kunari stood at the door, dressed in a dark Samite suit and carrying a mahogany walking stick whose head was a dragon's skull carved from lazurite. The cut of his clothes and the scars on his hands sent a clear warning that sailors looking for a cheap drink should look elsewhere. A sign over the door had no picture, but read simply, "The Tea House." Inside the tea house was dimly lit and conspicuously quiet. It was a place where a hood pulled up could hide a face, where whispers were worth more than gold. Candlelight flickered in smoked glass lamps, shedding just enough light for a keen-eyed servant to find their way across the thick, stained planks that lined the floor. There were no common tables, merely a bar and a number of wide booths, each blocked off from the room by heavy velvet curtains woven through with lyrium and enchanted to prevent any sound from escaping the booth. The elf currently known as Charter nodded to the Kunari doorman as she stepped inside. He stared down at her, quick movements of his eyes showing that he saw at least some of the daggers hidden beneath her simple cloak and travelling clothes.
I hope you are here for peaceful purposes.
His accent was almost gone, but she caught the traces of the old Kunari bleeding through. A deserter then? Likely from when the Kunari had occupied part of Kirkwall years back.
As do I.
The doorman narrowed his eyes slightly, but made no move to take her weapons. The tea house was for the discreet, not the foolish, and it would be the height of foolishness to attend even a peaceful meeting without options if something went wrong.
I am meeting someone.
She let out a little bit of Kirkwall into her voice, and the doorman hid a tiny flinch. Definitely from the city's occupation, and the memories weren't pleasant.
Sage is available at the bar to assist you in finding your party.
The doorman said.
Have a pleasant...
Sorry.
Sorry. Have a pleasant evening.
Charter nodded to him and stepped inside. She paused to blink in the dim light. And saw a servant, a middle-aged human woman in a gown of ring velvet, so dark it seemed to eat what little light there was. The woman held a tray of drinks, one black tea, one herbal, one spiced wine, and she waited for a moment to see if Charter would pass. Charter waved her forward, still blinking, late or not. She would not move where she could not see. The servant nodded and stepped to one of the curtain booths, drawing it back. For a moment, sound came through, and she caught voices. One dwarven with a cart accent, and one that sounded Raveni. The doorman coughed politely behind her, and Charter nodded and made her way to the bar, aware of the eyes on her back. The man behind the bar, Sage, wore the same dark outfit as the doorman. He was a dwarf, and ancient from the look of it, skin like tanned leather pulled over bones tightly enough for the tendons to stand out his forearms. A former daggerman, Charter guessed. He smiled at Charter's approach, the wrinkles around his eyes folded like a collapsed Orlesian fan.
How may we help you this evening, my dear?
His accent was Navaran, his smile surprisingly genuine.
I came to meet friends. Gouch. Party of 5.
Of course. The upstairs room is reserved for you.
Sage gestured to the glasses behind him.
The others have already arrived. May I take your order?
She'd been on the road for a week, and badly wanted a glass of wine. But she wanted a warm fireplace and a woman named Tessa in her arms too. And neither of those would be good ideas right now.
Vanderfell's mint. Loose leaf, if you have any.
Sage nodded.
And do I recall correctly that it was 2 sugars?
That had been 10 years ago, and several names ago. She smiled despite herself.
You do? Thank you.
Not the only thing that's been 10 years. And several names ago, flippin' heck. Anyway. Sage gestured to the staircase, which was lit more brightly. No one coming to a secret rendezvous wanted to make a bad impression by tripping on the stairs in the dark. She nodded and headed up, her footsteps quiet as she turned at the landing. Then headed up farther. The top floor was blocked by another of the black curtains that blocked the sound, and when she pushed it aside, she saw one large room. The lamps were dim, and the walls bare of both windows and any painting where a peephole might have been concealed. But a fireplace against the wall crackled merrily, and seated around the fire in comfortable, overstuffed chairs were 4 figures. A dwarf, early middle age, his hair and beard black as the leather he wore, his boots and gloves stitched with lyrium runes, and the thin blade at his waist gleaming in its wyvern hide scabbard. A big cup of coffee sat mostly empty before him, and his eyes were sharp as he watched her come in. The Carter assassin. A slender man wearing bright silks whose iridescent hues were complicated by an opal inlaid full-face mask. 1 second, let me get the mask. Done to look like dragon scales with curly blonde locks that hung above his shoulders. A teacup sat at the table in front of him, a few drops still left in the silver spoon resting on the saucer, the Orlesian bard. A pale woman in the dark robes of an Avaran mage, frowning with evident disapproval. Her staff sitting at the rest by her chair, but still crackling with faint magic around the amethyst crystal at the head, gripped by silver figures whose mouths hung open, in agony or ecstasy. Charter couldn't tell. She cradled a glass of mulled wine, while a silver stirring stick twirled in the glass of its own accord. The Mortalitassi. A figure covered head to toe in dark robes of Varantium samite, with a thin mesh dropping down to cover the hood. The dark robes were trimmed in a pattern Charter had never seen, twisting shapes that curled to points in places that made her eyes hurt. A cup of what looked like dark red wine sat before the figure, untouched by leather-gloved hands, but she caught a faint whiff of the ocean from his robes, and something beyond the ocean, the executor. They all turned to look at her as she came in. She made no effort to hide her steps. Stealth might be taken as rudeness, but the sound was still muffled, and the floor felt slightly springy beneath her feet. A layer of cork underneath the floorboards for additional soundproofing then.
You're late. I've been stuck listening to the Peacock and the Death Mage and whatever he is.
He gestured at the executor.
She is perfectly on time.
The Mortalitassi said with a sniff. It is not as though you were enjoyable to talk to yourself, monsieur. The bard said, his Orlesian accent curling like smoke around the words.
Enough.
The voice that came from the executor could have been male or female, young or old. It was less a voice than the idea of a voice, rendered acceptably, but no more.
We came because we possess a shared interest in the wolf.
The Inquisition's wolf. Remember, he worked with them for a year with none of them the wiser. Imagine that, overlooking the god in your midst. How does that feel?
He asked, looking at Charter. She allowed irritation to show with a little grimace as she sat down. Making the Carter agent feel like he had scored a point might get him to share more information of his own.
He is not a god, as he himself says. He is merely a very old, very powerful elven mage.
or possiblemente very young mage. He could be a simple elf who stumbled onto old magic.
Or he could be a demon impersonating an elf.
The Mortartati said, sipping her wine.
What he is does not concern us.
The executor said, the words neutral but carrying a weight that made the wine in its cup ripple.
We across the ocean care only for his goals and means of accomplishing them.
According to what he told the Inquisitor.
Shifting in her seat and noting with hidden pleasures how they paused at her words.
He wishes to restore the empire of the ancient elves, and he has made it clear that doing so will cause massive destruction to our world.
Especially to Tevinter.
The Mortartati
Since most
said
of
with a
it...
sneer. Sorry, the Mortartati said with a sneer.
Since most of it is built over where the ancient elves once lived.
She looked around the room curiously.
You said this would be a meeting of the best spies on the continent. Where are the Tevinter Sicarii?
And the Ben Hasrath. Do the Kunari fear to speak with us?
Tevinter's intelligence network declined to answer our request. As did the Ben Hasrath. The latter is especially disappointing. They had more knowledge of Solus's movements than anyone else.
They also tried to wipe out most of the southern governments at a surprise attack. And then invaded when that failed.
He smiled tightly and took a sip of his coffee.
I'd be careful trusting anything they said.
Charter nodded as though the Carter dwarf had said something that wasn't obvious to everyone in the room, then let out a long breath.
Oh, is this Charter as well?
Yeah.
Oh. Beyond that, the Inquisition knows little about what Solus intends. Much of his research involves the veil that separates our world from the world of the spirits. He claimed to have created it, and he asked the Inquisition for help activating artifacts to strengthening the veil. That seems a possible place to start.
It was weak, which Charter knew. She let that weakness creep into her voice as she said it. The little hitch of someone out of their depth. The executor was motionless, the Orlesian merely stirred his tea, and the Mortartati rolled her eyes. But the Carter assassin bit, as she'd hoped he would.
I'm only here because Viscount Tethras called in a few favors. But I didn't expect to be the best informed person in the room. You don't even know what he wants, and I can tell you that.
Charter sat back, clenching her teeth. The assassin clearly enjoyed her frustration, and with a little push, he would tell her everything.
We know what he wants. He wishes to end...
Not his goal.
The assassin waved that away, then paused and finished his coffee.
His target. The Carta might not be much for magic, but pay attention, and you might learn a trick or two.
The assassin's tale.
So, red lyrium. At first we thought it was just a new ore of the stone. More magic per ounce, little more of a bite to it. When Bartran went crazy after discovering red lyrium, we thought it was just, well, him going crazy. Same for Meredith when she nearly destroyed Kirkwall. The Templars always 2 missed meals from madness. Take it from the folks who sell them their lyrium. Then word got around. One of our best smiths had been studying red lyrium. She says the blasted stuff is tainted by the blight. A few families might have tried to keep smuggling it after that, but we shut that down. The Carta believe in business. Blight is bad for business. Another thing that's bad for business is competition. So when Viscount Tethras kept a quarantine in Kirkwall, where Meredith caused so much damage with her lyrium sword, and then turned into a blasted statue herself, the Carta approved. Anybody got ideas about sneaking in, breaking off a piece, old married and mad for themselves? We showed them the error of their ways. You got it? So when this Dalish elf comes around asking, can someone get the lyrium idol out of what's left of the statue, our first thought was to send him back to his clan with a few new tattoos carved into his face, if you know what I mean. Plus, the idol's gone. Everybody knows Mary the Mad forged that old idol into her sword, and then the sword exploded. But the elf keeps at it. He's learned it from a dream. Some old legend of his people says the idol is in her body, and if he gets it out, he can freeze gods or something like that. Honestly, the elf gods always bore the crap out of me. No offense, Charter. At least the human's maker has a good sense to sod off and leave us alone. So, we're about to kill him. Not because we're cruel, you understand, but anybody who's that determined to dig around in a statue made of lyrium needs to be put down before they get a bunch of people hurt. And then the elf pulls out a potion and says it will soften the raw lyrium and weaken its magic for a bit, so we can get to the idol inside safely. So we pour a little bit of that potion on them, some lyrium for a laugh, and damned if it doesn't work just like as he says. Crazy or not, the elf knows something, and he promises us a statue's weight in gold. Plus, he'll teach us to make that potion, which is a very profitable possibility. So we decided the safest thing for us is to help the elf out, so that he doesn't get hurt trying to do it himself. None of this goes to Divine Victoria, Charter. I don't even know how much of an Inquisition you still have these days. But this is sharing in good faith. And if I get guards banging on my door about something that wasn't supposed to leave this room, Akarta will be very unhappy. You hear me? Just making sure. Anyway, we sneak into the quarantine square where Mary the Mad is keeping watch forever, climbing over the barriers they've set up quiet and quick. Takes a little bribery, a little moving, quiet-like. Maybe a few of Kirkwall's finest should have taken a hit and gone for a walk, but they got a bad case of scruples and had to go for a swim instead. But what matters is we got to the statue. It was creepy, I'll tell you that. The whole square stank of magic, thick enough to raise the hair on your arms. And as we're moving through the shadows, I swear on my mother's urn I'd heard music in the wind. Like some old song I heard as a kid, but can't quite remember. A couple of us fell over right there, shaking and whispering. Most of us keep our heads on straight and we get to the statue. It doesn't really look human anymore. Doesn't look like much of anything other than a twisted vein of lyrium that just grew out of the ground in a weird place. Some of the lyrium's dark, some of it's glowing. The song in my head is getting louder, and another of my Carter brothers runs off screaming, idiot. Me, I'm just glad the statue doesn't look much like Meredith anymore, because digging something out of a dead woman's chest isn't something decent people do. So our alchemist uses the potion on old Mary the Mad, pouring it right on her heart, just like the elf had said, and old Mary opens up like a snowman with boiling water tossed on it. And damned if it isn't there in the middle of her chest. That little idol Bartram brought back from the deep roads. It's not much to look at. Couple hugging, too thin to be dwarves. But sitting there, glowing softly like a ruby lit by the grace of the Maker himself. I got the best gloves, genuine wyvern leather. And I reach in, scoop aside the raw lyrium like it was mud in a rainstorm, and pry out the idol. It's heavier than you'd think. Lyrium's heavier than you'd think too, but this was heavy even for that. When I hefted it in my hand, it was like it wanted to keep moving, like it was liquid inside. I don't know. Anyway, we get it into the chest, double shielded, safe enough that you could sleep with it under your pillow at night. And the song shuts off all at once. We get out of the square and back to our safe house where the elf is waiting. But that's when trouble hits. After Kirkwall went boom, a lot of the Templars went rogue. They kept buying lyrium from us, but they're all but bandits. To tell you the truth, we kept them reined in by threatening not to supply them unless they kept trouble to a minimum. At our safe house, these former Templars find us. One of the guards we bribed must have talked, I suppose, because they knew what we had and they wanted it. Piece of old Mary the Mad to keep for themselves. Well, I was outnumbered, on account of the men we lost to that song in our heads. So we go inside to negotiate. The elf comes out, tries to fight, and they rough him up some. He's on the ground, sleeping with a lump on his head in short order. The leader of the former Templars says that he wants the potion that changes lyrium, that we can't give what we don't have. And he's not happy to see that the person who does know how to make that potion is lying out cold on the ground. So he ties up the elf and says that he'll wait. Takes the chest. Not long after, another man comes by. Tevinter, by his clothes. I heard the Templars say something about House Katara, and he gives them some big bag of gold and takes the idol. Now, the Templars are waiting for the elf to wake up. It's almost morning. So some of them go to sleep while the others keep watch. Some of our boys are doing the same, and the Templar leader and I are sitting there drinking coffee, trying to figure out how we're going to settle this without anybody else ended up dead. That's when the sleepers start twitching. All of them, all at once. Backs twisted like they're having a fit. With Templars, I'd think it's a big bad dream or something. But it's happening on my boys too. And you all know dwarves don't dream. Whatever it is, has them shaking and seizing, and it all goes still. But everyone who was asleep is dead with blood pouring from their ears. Let me tell you, Templars don't like anything that looks like demons killing their boys at all. So the Templar leader is up with his blade out. Now I'm doing the same, because what kind of magic does he think the Carter uses exactly? And also, if it were us doing it, why would I kill my own? That's when arrows come through the window and leave the Templar pinned to the wall. Everyone who was awake was on their feet, and the arrows hit all of them except me. Because I didn't get my job by not knowing when to dive for cover. The Templars are down, the boys are down, and I hear footsteps coming. So I make my way to the sleeping elf. Because I figure he's tied to this somehow, and I dealt with him proper and honest, so maybe if this is his people, he'll vouch for me. Yeah, he's already dead. Bad luck for him. Stray arrow caught him in the throat. I smear his blood by my ears and twist up on the floor in my best imitation of a corpse. They come in a moment later. Elves. But not on any elves I've ever seen. No crap on their face like the Dalish. They don't have that little hunch a city elf has, hoping you don't notice them. They got fancy armor and bows out, and they case the room like professionals. One of them says that idol must have been moved. His accent is your normal Ferelda, not like the Dalish. Oh, it sounds like they're talking through a mouthful of toffee. He sees the dead elf on the ground and swears. Must have been embarrassed that his own arrow killed the boy he was supposed to rescue. The other one leans down by the body and says, "The Dread Wolf guide your soul to peace, brother." And his accent does sound Dalish, only more formal. Like he's reading a poem even when he's not. And the elves walk out of there without another word. So that's what happened. My word to your maker. The Dread Wolf wants that idol, and he's not afraid to get his hands bloody to get it. I pity House Katara if he ever finds them. I hope none of them are deep sleepers.
The assassin stepped back as the thick black curtain parted, and everyone turned to watch the servant bring in Charter's tea.
Thank you,
She said as the woman set the cup and saucer on the table.
Will there be anything else?
The servant asked, looking around the room. No, merci.
Have another Antivan.
The assassin held out his coffee cup, and the servant took it and left. When she was gone, the assassin glared at the room.
Anyone else ready to share?
A second cup of coffee and a killer who came in dreams or sleep. Since dwarves did not dream, the Carter assassin was afraid.
Interesting to see both Dalish and city elves working with this thing.
The Mortaltasi grimaced, and then her eyes snapped down to her stirring stick, still moving of its own accord in her wineglass.
I see specks at the bottom, Wisp.
Her voice held a warning, and the stirring stick jerked and moved faster. The Templars. How did they find your safe house, monsieur?
Guess it wasn't so safe after all. Haven't used it since, I'll tell you that for free.
House Kintara fell with the city of Ventus.
the executor said, shifting under the cowled robe.
The Kunari may possess the wolf's idol.
I do not believe so. I had agents involved with House Kintara before it fell.
Or more accurately, while it fell. But that was more information than the room needed.
The idol was sold or traded to the Denarius family.
So you already knew that.
And now we know the Dread Wolf has agents working for him. The bard's mask glittering in the firelight as he tossed back his golden locks. And that he has the power to kill those who oppose him as they sleep. Useful information. The hair toss was effective, but a little clumsy. He normally styled his hair differently.
And another point in favor of the so-called god being a demon.
Or a poisoner. The crows have odorless poisons heavier than the air. They steal the breath from sleepers while leaving those seated or standing unharmed.
I know poison.
The assassin growled, leaning forward and glaring at the cloaked executor.
I know magic, and I know which killed my boys.
This does not help us eliminate the wolf. You might as well suggest we throw a rock at him.
The executor turned, the featureless black underneath the hood suddenly looming as it centered on the assassin.
You stink of lies and fear.
The assassin leaned in, his blade already halfway from its sheath, and the bard was suddenly between them. One hand raised before the assassin, the other resting gently on the executor's leather glove. Please, my ami, if we argue, none of us will learn what we came to find. Credit, Charter gave the bard credit. She wouldn't have touched the executor herself unless she had a weapon drawn. But then, given the reputation of Orlesian bards, it was likely that he had a weapon closer than she thought. His hands were ungloved, his fingers long and pale. The flashy rings had no tan lines around them, so they were costuming, not normally part of his outfit.
I believe the dwarf, and I have information that supports it. I believe I know where the idol went after it left House Kintara. Stop.
The last was directed to her stirring stick, which abruptly went still in her cup. She removed it and gently eased it into a hidden pocket of her staff, just below the amethyst crystal gripped by the silver figures. The Mortalatasi tale.
In Tevinter, the mages made the greatest possible mistake. They chose to rule. In doing so, they shackled themselves to desks and appointments, using their waking hours to command men when they could have been commanding the magical forces that underlie the very fabric of this world. In Navarra, the king rules, and the common people are happy, or at least as happy as common people ever get. And the mages, the Mortalatasi, we rule the king. With a small investment of time, we command one man, and that man commands the others, and beyond that, we need not concern ourselves with them. We perform rituals. The specifics need not concern you. Only a mage would truly understand, and none of you are mages. Unless the executor wishes to correct me. Ah, so mysterious and silent. But the Mortalatasi know how to pry answers from silence. Suffice it to say that we find places where the veil is thin, and behind it, the fade flows like a mighty river. In these places, our magic may bind spirits, as is only right and natural, and in so doing, guide the current of that river, so that it flows more to our liking. It is not nonsense, dwarf. That your people are blind to magic does not remove its effect upon this world. There are others among the Mortalatasi who do other work. The guides of the path to shepherd the corpses, the morn watch to deal with the magic gone awry. But those who do as I do, who bind the fade and the world beneath it to their will, We are the truest mages. Whatever those who question our methods might say where they think we cannot hear. It is in this understanding that we allowed a Tevinter mage to visit and perform a ritual. He came from House Denarius, saying that his master had met in some misfortune. He asked for our help, and that he might change this world for the better. The war against the Kunari, he said, had not gone well. You all know that the Antam invaded without permission of the other branches of Kunari government. We had assumed this would hobble them, but it appears the priests and workers were a moderating influence. Without them, the Antam have crushed the Tevinter opposition in the east. I fear everything east of Varantian will be under their control inside a year, and northern Antiva as well. Can you imagine the Antam in control of this land? They hate magic even more than the cowards in the south. Our great works, the magic of centuries, they would destroy it, judging us monsters, as though they had any right. It is unacceptable. I will not answer to witless fools who cannot even see the demons I bind by will alone. I will not answer to you either, or Legion. When you can stand in the Fade and turn the raw chaos to your own purpose through sheer force of will, then I will accept your opinions of whether my magic is safe or appropriate. The mage who came to us had a way to drive back the Antam. He would perform a ritual with our help, directing the course of the Fade against the Antam, so that every dream, every demon, every half-interested spirit would urge them back to the north, away from humanity. Their resolve would weaken, their invasion would crumble, and all would go back to the way it should be. It was a bold plan, unsubtle as Tevinter's mages want to be, but attractive in its audacity. We brought him to one of our ritual chambers, deep in the Grand Necropolis. Here, our greatest mages are preserved, their bodies now home to bound spirits who empower our rituals. The Tevinter mage brought slaves with him, and we thought nothing of it. He also brought what he said was an ancient elven artifact, taken from House Denarius before it fell. When he opened the chest marked with the Cartus protective runes and drew it forth, we saw it clearly. An idol crafted from red lyrium, which seemed to show two lovers, or a god mourning her sacrifices, depending upon how it caught your fancy. It whispered in our minds when we saw it. But those of us gifted with magic hear such murmurs in our minds all the time, and it is nothing to us. Our great cavern had been prepared, arcane possessions ringed around us, corpses of great mages bound in ritual circles that kept the demons inside their bodies safely leashed. We had all drunk lyrium until we could feel the magic pulse inside the ancient walls, a song whose notes were ours to play. We knew our parts. And I, as one of the 12 Mortalitasti, brought forth my magic, enhanced it with the arcane possessions, and focused it upon the idol the Tevinter mage had placed upon the ground before him. My part of the ritual was complex, and I was so focused upon it that I did not at first realize the Tevinter mage was killing his slaves. I saw them, lying on the ground in a trance in a circle around him. And then he had cut the throat of one of them, and then another, catching the blood of his victims on the idol as he made his way around the circle. I would, of course, have stopped him were it possible, but the ritual was already underway. To give up my bindings could have caused massive destruction, likely killing the slaves anyway. So it was that I could only continue my work and watch the distasteful business, wishing I could have stopped him, of course. When our power, plus the power of our arcane possessions, plus the power of a slave's lives, had all come to him, the Tevinter mage raised the idol before him, and I saw a spike of lyrium spring from the base of the idol, so that all at once it was not merely an idol, but a ritual blade. He slashed his own hand, and a wave of power pulsed through the cavern. It was as though we were the blood, and the cavern was the body through which it flowed. And we fell, all of us, to the ground, our minds pulled into the raw chaos of the Fade by the power of his ritual. All around us was light and color, a dizzying array of the magic that makes up the world of spirits. And it swirled around the Tevinter Mage and his ritual knife, as though he were the eye of a hurricane. Something huge trembled around us, a great spirit, that it shook parts of the Fade I had always considered to be neutral, devoid of life. And high overhead, where the black city shadowed the sky, I heard a great booming roar. But before the Tevinter Mage could complete his ritual, the dread wolf arrived. It was no elf, no mortal mage. It was a beast unlike any I had ever seen, lupine in appearance, but the size of a high dragon, with shaggy spiked hide and 6 burning eyes like a pride demon. And it came to us, on wings of fire that resolved themselves into a horde of lesser demons, as the dread wolf landed before us.
You meddle past your understanding, foolish mortal mages, and in doing so you threaten all creation.
The words battered us like storm winds, and the dread wolf's jaws closed upon the Tevinter Mage, snapping him up in an instant as he screamed in terror. The lesser demons rushed down upon us, crackling with fire and lightning, and our ritual collapsed as we all drew upon our own magics to survive.
You use my idol carelessly to vandalize the Sea of Dreams. Now feel the pain of what you have created.
At once, we were awake, back in the cavern, and its walls shook and cracked. And then a rift of green light rent the ceiling open above us. And the demons that had accompanied the dread wolf burst into the world in righteous fury, shining warriors with blades forged from the raw fate itself, and behind them, dimly visible through the crackling light, the shadow of the beast itself, from whose slavering jaws came the final words, roared not in anger, but with quiet contempt.
From this moment, should you ever bind a spirit, then your life is mine.
The hypocrisy almost made me laugh. The dread wolf forbade us from binding spirits, but why would these lesser demons attack us if not because the dread wolf bound them? They might have looked like spirits of valor or justice to the untrained eye, but I assure you, no kindly spirit would tear into us as those creatures did. I flung my magic at them, driving them back with wards and blasts of raw power. My fellow Mortalitasi fell around me. The Tevinter Mage lay on the cavern floor, a withered husk surrounded by the slaves he had sacrificed in his bloody ritual. One of my fellow Mortalitasi, a noble son, sprinted to the body. He seized the idol. Its lyrium blade was gone, retracted or shattered, I know not which, and flung it into the thick carded chest that had bound its power before. He ran with it, leaving the rest of us to die, and I cursed his name and his cleverness. The rift closed, and the demon laid the Mortalitasi to waste. I ran, with a few other survivors. I had to escape the demons, to warn the others, you see, so that they would not endanger anyone else. The demons blocked my path, as did the arcane possessions, the corpses of our great mages carrying powerful spirits. There were only 2 of us left, me and an old acquaintance. She wept beside me, her staff broken and useless as her old arguments and petty politics. A demon caught her from behind, its shining blade piercing her heart with a single clean blow. Her life flowed out beside me, and I was helpless to save her. Then the bodies of the sacrificed slaves twitched and shuddered as spirits found them, and a moment later they were on their feet, corpses driven by spirits, and they fell upon the demons and the arcane horrors, giving me time to flee. The Mornwatch, close-minded fools, questioned later why the corpses would aid me, as though my good works were insufficient to draw compassionate spirits who might wish me protected. as though I were some common criminal binding spirits through blood magic, not the victim of the dread wolf himself? They returned with me, nevertheless, ready to banish the demons. They had already left. The arcane possessions had vacated their corpses as well, as had the sacrifices. We reinterred our honored dead and ended up sealing the cavern. We searched for the noble son and the stolen idol, but he had fled into Tevinter, and with so much of the Imperium in chaos from the war, it was not safe for us to give chase. I fear that is where my knowledge ends. Whatever you know of this mage, put it aside. Whether he is truly the dread wolf of elven myth, I cannot say. It is not uncommon for powerful spirits to be worshipped as gods, as the Yavar do. But whatever fear the name of the dread wolf carries, he has earned. While we might visit the Fade, it is his natural home, and the spirits there serve him gladly. They whisper in my dreams now, accusing me of crimes I never committed, and promising vengeance if my wards fail. A weaker mage would be dead already, or mad. And as clear as the Dreadwolf's anger at me for what we had done, the more Talatasi binding spirits he considered his own, the Tevinter mage using forbidden blood magic, was the feeling that we had disrupted his own work. He intends something for the Fade, and if he wants the idol, then whatever he intends will be terrible.
The assassin harumphed as the curtain drew back, and Chatter saw his hand go to his blade again, but it was only the servant returning with his coffee. He nodded at her, and she withdrew, the curtain crackling faintly with magic as it drew silence across the boundary at the top of the stairs.
This is useless.
He snapped and sipped
knew
his
the
coffee with a grimace.
I knew the elf was dangerous. Now he's a demon as well?
Or has an alliance with a demon. During his attacks on the south, Corypheus allied himself with a fair demon as a way to trap the Grey Wardens.
The Grey Wardens trapped themselves. The bard murmured, a hint of disapproval in his voice as he stirred his tea. Regardless, we know more than we did.
He has begun whatever ritual he intends to use to restore the Elven Empire. And he is aware of disruptions. The ritual involves the Fade, and it requires the idol in some way.
The idol also reacts to other lyrium. Perhaps he needs lyrium for his ritual, the normal blue or this strange new red form.
The assassin folded his arm and sat back.
We have enough problems without getting mixed up with red lyrium. I told you, it's blighted, and blight is bad for business.
He glared over at the executor.
And you've been happy to listen. We haven't offered anything of your own. What are we getting in trade?
Before the executor could answer, the bard raised his hand. I believe I know where the mage carrying the lyrium idol went next. S'il vous plaît, allow me to continue its tale. Charter nodded, and the assassin harumphed again and gulped his coffee. Taking that as permission, the bard began. The bard's tale. The war between Gaspar and Celine was a great disruption to my country. Expensive, both in lives lost and coins spent. Since its resolution, those in my profession have spent much of our time traveling abroad in search of Olesian treasures sold or bartered. Recently, I found myself asked to recover such a treasure, a ring that's once belonged to Empress Celine herself, a gift from the previous Lord Matelion before her untimely retirement. I had traced this ring across Thedas to the neutral city of Limarin, where I had heard rumors of an auction where enchanted treasures from across the world were to be sold. I procured an invitation and arrived at a massive fortress guarded by a pair of massive columns, their stone marked with runes and a crystal that glowed green as I examined my invitation. They waved me in, and I entered and made my way to the ballroom, where I found a crowd of the wealthy and influential gathered from all over Thedos. Another ogre laughed loudly at a Ravini pirate captain's dirty joke. A soberly clad noble from Starkhaven glared at an auburn-haired elf whose dagger knot gave her away as an agent of the Kunari spies, the Benasarath. A warden commander spoke with a woman who was robed and masked, but as I passed her, I recognized the voice of divine Victoria herself. All of them were watched by a figure who sat upon a chair large enough to be a throne. A withered, unmoving figure I would have not taken for a corpse. Despite its finery, had it not occasionally spoken by means of some magical artifact to order a weird small boy to moisten its desiccated limbs. My orders were to purchase the ring, if possible, or, failing that, make contact with the buyer and facilitate an exchange by some other means. The auction would not begin for some hours, and I circled the floor, listening and making idle conversation. I quickly learned that this auburn-haired elf was not the only Benasroth agent present. She was giving information to others, and out of curiosity at what the Kunari, so averse to magic, might want at an auction such as this, I listened. The words were in the Kunari language, which I know only triflingly, but I heard her mention the Sekari. Curious, I followed the savant, a forgettable human man, as he left the elf. He descended down a flight of stairs, and I followed, pretending to be lost in my cups. At the bottom of the stairs, the servant accosted me, a thin blade produced from his tunic, and I, regrettably, introduced him to my own blade, which was shorter than his, but still long enough to reach his heart and explode the lower floor. It quickly became clear that the bottom floor of the castle was intended for servants, which made it surprising to see heavily armored guards stomping through the hallway, watching for intruders. I had understood that the treasures to be auctioned were upstairs in a great vault, but now began to suspect that something else had been kept down here for safety. I kept to the shadows and let the guards pass by, as my blade was not long enough to reach their hats. Finally, I found the other Benasarath, deep beneath the castle, in tunnels that the auctioneer himself probably did not know existed. I smelled salt air farther down and summarized that they led to a smuggler's cove, some hidden way into and out of the castle, but could not explore further, as the Kunari themselves were making preparations in my path. They were not humans or elves who had foolishly given themselves to the Kunari cause. These were Kunari themselves, tall and grey-skinned, but lithe and fast, where the Antam soldiers are bulky and strong. They carried no lanterns or torches, but held instead a metal rod ending in a glass bulb inside which an eerie light burned more brightly than any candle. They carried blades and the thick, heavy satchels that Kunari used to store the explosive powder, and as I watched, they applied a pouch to a heavy iron door against the wall and stepped back. They were waiting, and I wondered for what. And then I caught the strains of music from upstairs on the main floor. Musicians were entertaining the crowd, and I recognized the piece, as apparently did the Kunari. They nodded along with it, and just as the piece reached a loud moment, fraught with crashing drums and blaring horns, the Kunari threw a small blade at the pouch. The pouch exploded with a burst of fire, the force directed inward, and the door collapsed, blown from its hinges, with its great clatter. The Kunari looked around, waiting, and then they were satisfied. that no one had heard the noise over the music up above. They went forward. I followed after a few moments, and from my view in the shadows, I saw that they had entered a sort of ritual chamber. Flippin' heck. I marked it as a vault in origin, with tall ashes across the ceiling and one of the old elven mirrors on the wall, flanked by statues of Allah and dragons. In the middle of the room, sitting on a satin pillow that rested upon a stone pedestal wrought with protective rune work, was the Red Lyrium idol. Just as the Kunari entered the room, so did another group. 3 of them were human, 2 of them mages, but wearing what I recognized as the outfits of Tevinter Magisters, though they had not shed their masks and held their glowing staves with the subtle confidence of operatives rather than rulers. The other human held a bow, and the arrow she had knocked crackled with a chantement at the head. The last member of the Tevinter team was a golem, identical to the golems that had guarded the castle entrance, as far as I could tell, save that it seemed to have intelligence in its eyes, and it stood ready to defend the humans. For a moment, the 2 groups assessed one another. Then each group slowly spread out and readied their weapons.
This is not some mere trinket,
said this female Kunari, who must have led the Benasaraf.
It is being searched for by a dangerous mage who styles himself the Dread Wolf. He threatens both our people. Leave, and we will have no quarrel with you tonight. Why don't you leave?
Asked one of the majors.
Or do you honestly think you know how to harness this idol's magic better than the mages of Tevinter? We know of the elven upstart. He is a mage named Solus, and his ritual has already started to affect the Fade. We cannot risk him acquiring this idol and finishing what he has begun. Neither can we,
replied this Kunari. They said more about this, but it was more or less the same. They raised their weapons. Then the Alluvion, the elven mirror on the wall, sprang to life, and as both sides turned, a figure stepped out. An elf in golden armor, with a wolf pet across his shoulder. He looked at them, and his face was empty of all expression. As one, the Sukari and Benasaraf turned to flee, screaming in panic. The elf's eyes blazed once with glowing light, and everyone stooped, petrified by strange and terrible magic. Even the golem was living stone no more. Its crystals dead and grey as it froze where it stood. The elf walked unhurriedly to its pedestal. Slowly, he lifted the Red Lyrium idol from the pillow where it rested. He whispered something as he picked it up, tracing his gloved fingers gently around the crowned figure who comforted the other. But I could not make out the words, for I fear they were in Elven. Then he turned back to his mirror and stepped through its shimmering border. A moment later, it was dead and dark again. That is all I know of this Dread Wolf, I'm afraid. The idol's journey is now complete, and it has found its master. He will destroy anyone in his way, without regret or hesitation. And whatever he intends, I do not believe we can stop him. The bard stopped there, sighing.
That's a good story,
the assassin said, cutting into the silence. Oh, Venom, I think you got another line.
Oh, I thought there was a bard line there first. Sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry. No, yeah.
Knifing a spy. That I believe.
Oh, sorry.
But trailing
it was the cutting into the silence, but I'd rather hear the truth. Sorry.
Oh, I did that one.
Oh, sorry, I must have spoke over you.
Oh, no worries.
Okay. The bard turned to him.
I can do it again, though.
I'll do it again. Yeah, do it again. Do it again. Yeah.
That's a good story, but I'd rather hear the truth.
The bard turned to him. I beg your pardon, monsieur.
Knifing a spy, that I believe. But tailing a Bin Hazrat team that was specifically on the lookout for opposition, I've come against a few horns a few times myself. No way you get close enough to overhear them without them knowing it.
I have heard many things of the Tevinter Sakari, but I have never heard them called cowards or traitors. Most of them come from slave families, and those families are kept safe as both promise and threat, ensuring the Sakari never flinch from their duties. You say that they broke and ran as soon as a single elf walked through the mirror? I know they would have attacked.
There are many liars at this table. Some more talented than others. I ask for my life.
The assassin.
What
turned
are
to
you
him.
on about?
Please. You expect us to believe that a group of ex-Templars found your safe house and came in such number that you had no choice but to surrender your great treasure? You expect us to believe that a stray arrow flew through the window and struck the sleeping elf who lay on the ground?
The assassin stood.
Oh, that's how it is, eh?
His blade came out of its sheath, glittering in the firelight.
And I suppose we should ask how an expert mage like yourself didn't figure out that she was helping in a blood magic ritual. You and your friends knew the whole time. You let him kill his slaves because you wanted to see what he could do.
The Mortartassi held out a hand, and her staff leaped to her grasp, crackling with purple fire. The eyes of the silver figures holding the amethyst crystal began to glow, a handful of tiny pinpricks of glittering light.
There were no Templars. You sold the idol to the Tevinter contact yourself, getting more money than the elf could offer. And then, when your men were dying in their sleep, and arrows came through the windows, you slit the elf's throat yourself, to ensure he could not finger you as the one to blame.
Not bad. Tell me, I'm just a dwarf, and I don't know much about spirits. What would make those corpses fight for you? Would blood magic bind them to do it? How'd your friend die again? You said she took a blow from behind. I'm just asking because I recall that the big dog in your story said that you were dead if you ever bound spirits again.
The Mortartassi went even paler than usual.
Charter, you have wasted my time.
I fear I have ended your time.
Charter shut her eyes and took a slow sip of tea, and then she quietly repeated,
I ask for my life.
Not killing you, elf. I need to get something useful out of this. Word has it that you saw that blasted elf every day in Haven. You must know something, even if you were stupid enough not to see it at the time.
I'm not asking you. And if you think I regret not seeing Solus for what he was when he served the Inquisition, you are correct. I was outplayed. I will regret it forever, and I will never make the same mistake again.
But how can you be certain, mademoiselle? She looked across the table at his face. His face was still hidden under the dragon mask.
By observing several small tells, and 3 large ones. First, that few Orlesian bards would learn to speak the Kunari tongue, but not Elven. And fewer of those who do not speak Elven would know the Elven word Illuvian, for the mirrors that let the ancient elves travel from place to place. Second, that the Executor has not moved since you touched his hand while he and the assassin argued. And third, that you never drank your tea.
The assassin and the mortal Tassi turned.
I know you hate the taste of tea. It was a joke around Skyhold. Why would you order it?
Because it was a joke around Skyhold. I was uncertain this costume would suffice. So I did everything the Dreadwolf would not. Except it's the... Except... The French is going. It's going. Except it's the... I've lost it.
You can do
I'll just
it.
go one more line. Except it seems... Bring myself to drink the tea.
I ask for my life.
Charter said a third time. The assassin and the mortal Tassi both sprang, and the eyes behind the dragon mask blazed with a fiery light for a moment. Ah, Lassamala. And his Orlesian accent was gone, replaced by the rolling lilt that was almost Dalish, but not quite. I grant it to you. The assassin and the mortal Tassi were still where they stood, their skin and clothes suddenly the grey of dead, dull stone. The man in the mask stood, sighed, and took the staff from the mortal Tassi statue's hand. He took the stirring stick from just below the gem at the head of the staff, drew it out, and held it for a moment. You are free. The stirring stick glowed for a moment in his hand, and then a wisp of energy flickered away. He turned back to Charter and removed the mask, tossing it carelessly to the table, and she saw his face again, just as she had seen it for all those months at Haven and Skyhold, never suspecting a thing. An elf, bold, the golden locks had been a part of the mask, an oval face with full lips and a tiny scar on his brow, pointed ears previously hidden under the mask and the wig.
Excellent work on the Executor. You petrified him, but not his robes.
I would caution you in dealing with those across the sea. They are dangerous.
More dangerous than the elf who threatens the entire world?
Charter asked, and was rewarded with a twitch of his lips that acknowledged the point.
Why did you come? Why you personally?
I wish to know what you all knew, he said, gesturing at the table. There are many of you, and you are not fools. As for me coming in person, the Inquisition was involved. Why did you come? She shook her head helplessly.
Because you told the Inquisitor that you were going to destroy this world. Did you expect us not to try and stop you?
It was a moment of weakness. I told myself it was because you all deserved to know. To live a few years in peace before my ritual was complete. Before this world ended.
Then perhaps we are not the only ones you lied to. You do not have to do this.
I have no choice. What I am doing will save this world, and those like you, the elves who still remain, may even find it better when it is done. Charter considered lying, but then she thought of Tessa, with her quick smiles and strong hands.
There are those I care for who would not.
I know that feeling well. I am no god, Charter. I am prideful, hot-headed, and foolish. And I am doing what I must. When you report back to the Inquisitor, tell her I'm sorry. He walked away, and Charter remained still under the curtain closed behind him. Then she drank the rest of her tea, her fingers shaking a little. She looked at the dragon mask on the table. Let me pick it up. This old thing. Prideful, hot-headed, foolish, doing what he must, sympathetic to the elves. Said that he was sorry. The red lyrium idol was a crowned figure, comforting another. It was not much, but it was more than she had known before, she thought. Pulling a small notebook from one pocket, She began to write her report. After all, the Dreadwolf wasn't going to stop himself. Woo!
I mean, he is if he continues to speak French. Just happens to have death.
Oh my god.
We made it to the end. We did it.
Yeah.
We did it. We did it. We saved the town. As Dora
Jack,
Explorer
that
said.
was incredible.
Fabulous work, Jack.
You were
I
all
mean, damn.
no, you all made that fantastic. Thank you all for doing the massive long narrations as well, because
Yeah, you guys were so good.
bloody hell. No, that was
I am in
fantastic.
awe of all of you.
I was shaking a little bit, but the problem is when you're reading, like I said, I don't know how Jack does it. It's really hard not to get tangled up in the words,
Oh, it is.
especially
It
some of
is.
these words, like with the way they're positioned next to each other. It's like you have to enunciate even more, because if you're just speaking regularly to each other, that's one thing. But since this is a story and you're narrating, it's even harder.
No, it is. It absolutely
I don't know
is.
if you guys ran into that. And
Yeah,
you
no,
doing it in a
it is.
French accent, my God.
That
Very
somehow
quick.
turned Ugandan for a moment.
I know.
Yes.
I lost it towards the end. I don't, it was.
You worked that accent so hard that it just slipped away from you.
You can't have an issue with pronunciation if you just over-pronunciate every single word.
The way you said information was amazing.
Information.
Information.
I wanted it to appear fake. That's the thing. So I wanted to be silly with it, because I think if it was
Yeah.
was too genuine, it'd be like. I mean, I also can't do a genuine French accent as well. So there is that.
Neither can I.
No, you all made that incredible. Just also taking a break from narrating and listen to you guys, fully able to actually digest and enjoy it, was amazing. And that's what I always had in mind for this story, and it was just purely fantastic. It couldn't have gone any better, in my opinion. The right voices, definitely, for the right characters, absolutely.
Mm. You guys are amazing.
I have notes.
Yes, hit us with your notes, Emily.
I have lots of notes. I also have things that, just little, tiny little hints that maybe Trick did that would kind of throw us off to what happened to the Executor.
Yes.
Because it's my first note too. So when I first read this, I didn't think anything of it by the end, that the Executor was still motionless. Because on chapter 474, he talks about the Executor being motionless most of the time, except for once when he sort of like rustled under his robes. So it's really good at tricking the reader, or more leading the reader into believing that this thing is pretty statuesque most of the time, so that by the end of it, when Solus had petrified him, the reader and nobody around, even in the story, thought nothing of it. So it's very clever. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else sort of noticed that.
When I first read it, I literally was gasping and dying for the Executor to read and be like, "Oh shit! Like, okay, it's coming next. It's coming next." And the way Trix did it was freaking purely beautiful, because going into this, it's like we all kind of thought, okay, yeah, surely Solus is going to be in one of these Tevinter Nights stories, and then throwing in the Executors there was the best curveball ever, because at the time and like the fandom, I think in 2020, like it's a huge conversation and codices and what's going next and stuff, and I don't know if they're actually ever going to answer it. I don't even know if it's just going to be now just for this story and they've changed and they've pivoted from the Executors. I don't know, but that was the best curveball from lore fanatics of being like, shit, which just proves how much BioWare wrote this book for hardcore fans. Because obviously if you're just reading this book casually and you know nothing about the codices, even from even if you are a hardcore fan, like the Executors are only like a few codices and then are in Hard and Hightown, well mentioned. So like it just shows the level of writing that they do stuff for, which has me excited for the Veilguard, at the same time hesitant. Different conversation, but because of the choices. But yeah, like that was the best curveball, because every other character they could have done wouldn't have surprised us. But with that, they were like, oh, like, yes, okay, when are they going to speak? What are they going to do? What are they going to say about Solas? And then actually, yeah, he killed them before we got a chance.
Well, that's the other thing is, Solus did not want the Executor to offer his information, nor did he want him to attack the assassin, which makes me believe one or two things. Is it's the line here on 480 where the executor turned, the featureless black underneath the hood, suddenly looming as it's centered on the assassin. You stink of lies and fear. We don't actually know how the executors attack, kill. We don't know much about them. So it was actually very clever having Solus kill him right away, because then that still keeps that mystery under wraps, especially if BioWare is not ready to reveal what they do or what they are. Because like they're there, so we're thinking about them, but they're not revealing all their cards yet.
Yeah.
And it just makes me wonder, what was Solus concealing by killing the executor? What was he concealing about what the executor knew about him, his plans? And what was he concealing about the executor himself, as in how they move, how they work, what they look like?
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems to be dually motivated.
I mean, because it definitely seemed like the executor already knew a lot more information than the executor shared, but that the executor was kind of trying to get a sense of what everyone else knew. And so it would make sense that if the executor was the biggest threat, that Solus was like, yeah, dude, you're out.
It also says something that Solus, of all people, is afraid of the executors and says they're dangerous.
Yeah.
Solus, of all people.
I mean, to be fair,
But are they?
does he
That's
think
fair.
they're dangerous in their like abilities or dangerous in the information they have?
Exactly.
My
That's
guess
what I was
is
just about to say.
My guess is the information, but it might be both. We don't know.
I think it's just dangerous to him,
Mm.
as in like, oh yeah, if they like tell what they know, then my plan doesn't work because everyone hates me more
Right.
than now.
And especially because they smell like the sea.
Yeah. So
I
that
mean,
makes
he
me
might
think
have
of
been to the
Gillinan.
fish market.
Yeah. All that.
Fish market. They're fish people.
Oh my god, yeah, they're like the fish people from Baldur's Gate.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
They're Kuatoa.
The
They're
cult
also
under the
worshipping a
sea.
garden gnome.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's what it is.
about
Confirmed.
them?
Executors.
That's the only thing. It's the horror of Hallmark, and I've said it so many times. But so I apologize if people have heard this before. But like the only thing that smells of the sea that we know currently, obviously besides the sea and fish and so many other things. But to put on a tinfoil hat, is it a connection to the viscous grey fluid pools that are in the elven tombs that Gillinan has sorted out? Sorry, that has dotted around the world that create these diabolical new darkspawn mutated creatures. That's the only correlation I have been able to make. And that makes sense if he didn't want them knowing, because they might know a lot about his old stuff, his old life, all the old things that he did back in the day. I don't know what Gillinan has got on Solas.
No, I think he's just jealous that they might have hair. He's
I think
still
it makes
sore
sense
about
as
that.
well with it's written in a way that Charter is already aware of a lot of this information. She's not surprised by anything they're saying. And then with Solus stopping the executor from speaking, that kind of also lends to the executor definitely actually having new information on Solus that nobody else has, and Solus does not want the Inquisition to get.
For sure, definitely. So what is it though? What is it, Weeks?
I honestly hope they're gonna reveal that in Veilguard.
They better.
I'd be very sad if they just.
It would
like,
change the concept of the story. It would.
Yeah. I just
wanna
hope we
see the
find out more
executors.
about the executors.
I think, to be fair,
Yeah.
a good critique of this book is actually, I think a lot of this book will be, we can value it more, reflect on it once the Veilguard's out and how relevant it was, because a lot of it is so dependent on the future and these characters. Obviously, it's fine if it is just anthological and there isn't much connection, but I think that if there isn't that much answers, not to already try and set myself up for more disappointment, but that would definitely change how I perceive this book and the time I've spent talking about it. If we don't get answers to stuff like the tags and horror of Hallmark, for example, the big things. It's okay if we don't see Barv from Herald Had the Plan Again, or if we don't see Vi or whatever. Well, actually, no, that is criminal. But like the big stuff that it does indicate, I do hope that we do get an answer to or a connection to, because I think then we'll look at this definitely differently once the Veilguard's out. Because for case in point, the executors, what's the mystery? What's the crack between them and Solas? What's going on there? If that isn't answered, then it kind of leaves this book like, okay, so they just use this as a, dare I say, a MacGuffin, or as like a red herring. to get you to think about the Executor, and actually there isn't any meaning behind it, and we don't know what they have, or it doesn't matter anymore now because Solas is working alongside Rook in some dynamic. So whatever they knew now is null because X, Y, Z. I really hope it doesn't fall like that, but like again, you gotta also kind of limit your expectations at the same time because it is a book and not many people have read it as well. But still.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not only in the book. They set it up in Inquisition.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though it's through the missions, the war table missions, still, it's something they set up, and then they picked it up again in the book. So I feel like it's going to be significant in some way. I hope so anyway, because I'd be disappointed if they just dropped this completely.
Me too.
After hyping it up and being so mysterious about it.
Me too.
Also, something I wondered, like they say, oh, those across the sea. Which sea? There's many.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that is true.
Like if we go by just the water bodies called sea, there is 6 actually, and then there's oceans.
Yeah. Which sea?
There's one more thing that caught. Well, I think there's a couple more things. I'm not sure. I gotta go through this, but in the Assassin's Tale, there is something interesting that caught my eye. Where he on page 476, where he says, "I'd swear on my mother's urn I heard music in the wind like some old song I had heard as a kid but can't quite remember." I'm wondering if that's him connecting to the Titan through the red lyrium idol. Like a red lyrium lighted Titan.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I'm hoping we get one. I'm just saying. It's just me copium, but I'm hoping we get like a blighted red lyrium
Titan.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I picked up from that. Is that like even though the surface dwarves are disconnected from the stone,
For sure.
he reconnects with it briefly because he says it's familiar, that he hasn't heard it since he was a kid. So maybe it's something that dwarves are sort of born with, and then it kind of fades as they get older.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or they can kind of feel that connection at birth and then it disappears after so long or whatever. There's still that kindled connection that they have to start their life with, but it fades because of their current situation or whatever. Or unless they do something ingrained in their culture that they don't even realize, where they cut it off at a young age, where they subconsciously like applying Valacine at a young age, they're not aware of what they're doing to themselves, so they're doing that because it's part of their culture, so they've ingrained it. Yeah, no, definitely. Flipping heck, I didn't even pick that up either when I've read that. That's spot on.
And then there's another thing I also thought was really, this is just like a writing, something that Trix did that I thought was really clever too, which I'm sort of like a fangirl at this point. But in the Mortalitasi's Tale, and I think in the Assassin's Tale he does this too, where it sounds, he's implying that like the bard and somebody else is interjecting in the story when they don't actually say anything. Because when she says, "I will not answer to you either, Orlesian, when you can stand in the fade and turn the raw chaos of your own purpose through sheer force of will, then I'll accept your opinion of whether my magic is safe or appropriate." So it's implying that like he's interjecting or he's saying something. But we never actually get to read that. But it's like there's a conversation happening, or at least that's the implication I get. I don't know. I like that little writing detail quite a bit.
Yeah, and I also love the irony in it as well.
The irony. I read that line and I was trying not to laugh the entire time.
Yeah.
It's like, you're going to regret
It's like,
those
oh God,
words.
girl. You're going to regret it. You're going to eat those words.
Yeah.
Sweetheart.
And she did.
And she did. Now she has a mouthful of stone.
And a little tea stirrer has returned to the fade.
It has. I think that's it. Wait,
there was something else about the Executor that I wondered. Oh yeah,
wait,
I wonder what the Executor.
Keep going.
I wonder why the Executor, why they're against Solas, because we saw their somewhat antagonistic intentions in Inquisition, where they were like, "For the moment, we are your ally, but don't." Like, what is the code to say something like? But when the moment comes.
My guess is that they have their own agenda, but they don't want the world to end. They have a different goal, but they knew Corypheus was trying to end the world in a way, or what he was trying to do was not good. And then they know about Solas's plan, which will also destroy the world, so they want to stop that. but then they also have their own plans.
Their own something lurking beneath. It's like the Ben Hasrith as well, because they don't want to sign up with the Inquisition, but the Ben Hasrith still want to stop Solas because obviously they don't want him to take over the world either. Hence why they've got their own plan, but they aren't working with the Inquisition. Whereas the Executors are at least willing to do that.
Does anyone remember what their quest was? Their war table quest was?
Follow the strange chalk markings. You found some
Yeah.
markings in Haven, and then you followed them, and eventually Executor.
Yeah,
didn't-
the Liliana's people were picking up that these chalk markings were appearing at different locations.
I believe
What did
there
that
was
lead to?
also one of their agents or one of their spies. When she was caught, she had poisoned herself, so she couldn't give away any information.
Yeah.
So whatever they're planning, they want to keep it secret.
And
I
we
wonder if they're-
know.
I sort of have a crack theory at the moment
Go for
working.
it. Go for it.
So let's say they're a cult of Gillenan. Let's just throw
Yeah.
that out there. Let's say they are. Maybe they're, like somebody said in chat, that they're sentient creations. I think it was Nori Hicks. Yes, I think they said that. They're sentient creations, and maybe they want to release Gillenan from her prison. Maybe that's their secret plan, and maybe right now they're moving all over Thetis because they are getting her monster factories back up and running.
Yeah.
And they don't want anyone to know. And that's why they would be dangerous to everyone, including Solus. And maybe he's their... isn't he their target? They're targeting him,
They're
right?
targeting him, yeah, they're just as opposed to the wolf as everybody else is.
That would mean though that they're okay with the blight being everywhere.
Mm.
So that would mean that they're either somehow immune to it or that they're carrying it themselves. Because like Gillenan wants to blight the world. So they'd have to be okay with that if they're working with or for her.
Yeah.
That's where my theory ends. Like, literally, it was just right now. Sorry.
But maybe
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it too.
maybe they...
But yeah, just looking on the wiki here, I was trying to remember how exactly did they figure it out at first that something fishy was up. It was in nearly every Inquisition outpost that symbol marked in chalk was appearing, and one of the Inquisition's agents, Argent, recognized it that it matched a same symbol that was on a ledger belonging to the Comtesse de Bayard. And so that's how they decided to set up the decoy outpost to try to capture who it was.
Okay.
Yes. Choosing Cullen's options definitely has.
We hold your Inquisition in high esteem. Thetis presents troubles are great, Thetis's present troubles are great, but you have the strength to meet and conquer them. More will come. We prepare for the day and hold vigil. Do not look for your men. Do not mourn them. They have given themselves of their own free will and to a higher cause on behalf of powers across the sea. If you do Liliana, compliments to your spy master. She is a resourceful woman. Once she has traced our agent to Kerman Bria, tell that the match was ruled in her favour. Tell Sister Liliana to call off her dogs. Save them for Corypheus. We suspect also that she has gotten all she can from Sir Helmuth. A caterpillar on a leaf does not know there is a forest about him. You will hear no more from us. Our intention was to watch, and we have seen enough. Corypheus threatens us all, and the Inquisition is Thetis' only hope for stopping them. Remember that, for the moment, we are not your enemy. As a gesture of goodwill, we share our knowledge. May it prove valuable in your coming battle. Yeah, it's like, oof. So for the moment, they're not. But they clearly have some antagonistic agenda coming up in the future where they are going to be against the Inquisition or whatever Remember, for the moment, yeah, not your enemy.
I know
Cullen's
we can
option-
kind of connect their symbols to the triangles of the Veil Jumpers, but I do hope they're kind of their own thing.
I'm looking at either way. Either they're gonna not talk about the Executors, and they're gonna align it with the the Veil Jumpers, or we're going to have very confusing triangle factions in Dragon Age, the Veilguard, and we're going to be like, okay, what's going on? Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think the Lucerni are now retconned as Shadow Dragons. I think the Veil Jumpers might be the Executors retconned. I don't know. It's just an easier way to kind of like tie up loose ends, because if you've got the Shadow, I don't know. I know I'd like it to be more dynamic, but I think with so many similar factions, it gets a bit confusing. But
yeah, that's fair. I just think that the description of the Executor in Tevinter Nights is so specific and kept vague. Why would they do that if it just turns out to be Veil Jumpers? Because the Veil Jumpers are cool, but are they as cool as are they as cool as the Executors?
They're not that cool.
Still mysterious. We literally don't know if their voice didn't sound male or female. We don't know what they look like, so yeah, I don't know. It's too specific for me to believe that they're Veil Jumpers.
Yeah.
What if your player character is the Executor? That's why they're not male or female.
Oh.
You are the betrayer.
That'll be sick.
Yeah.
I'd love to be the betrayer. I want to be the villain so
I
bad.
definitely join them. I would so join them and fuck over the world.
Interestingly, there's a Executors mention in the Hard and Hightown book.
Yeah.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Oh, it was Varric all along then.
Which is funny because it really harps on the fact that everyone thinks that they're not real.
So they're like a boogeyman type.
Yeah, it's
thing.
like a conspiracy, kind of like Illuminati, ooh, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
At least in Hard and Hightown, that's what they were kind of like. It was very much dulling down, like, what's the word? Doubling up on the fact that these are some sort of secret society, which they are. They're a shadowy society, but it was very much like, ooh, I heard it was the Executors. I heard that from him that he was do-do-do-do, and he was do-do-do-do-do. It was very hush-hush.
And then they're like, oh, they're not real, of course. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Well, looking at this, at what the cast have posted for both options, Cullen's option actually seems to be the most damning and implicative. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Because even though there's not as many words, it's actually, I think, says a lot more than below.
Yeah.
Because we hold your Inquisition in high esteem. Thetis' present troubles are great, but you have the strength to meet and conquer them. More will come. We prepare for this day and hold vigil. Do not look for your men. Do not mourn them. They have given themselves of their own free will to a higher cause. You know what that says to me? That they converted and they didn't die. It says to me that they became executors.
Yeah.
Oh shit, yeah.
Because they don't want you to look. They don't mention bodies. They don't want you to mourn them. They don't want you to come after them whatsoever. Sounds to me that they drank some of that briny shit.
Yeah.
Maybe it's briny.
Yeah.
And they've added to their ranks.
Oh, that's so,
maybe forcibly or not.
Spot on. Oh, flipping heck! I didn't. Yeah, they've given themselves of their own free will. They haven't. Their lives haven't gone. They've just given themselves to a higher cause, literally. Oh, yeah.
That's what at least I read out of that.
Absolutely, yeah.
No, definitely, yeah.
So I don't know about anything else, but that's just my tinfoil for the day. Although, actually, you know what? My tinfoil doesn't end.
I'll head off because I have to work tomorrow.
No worries. Thank you, Lucas.
Thank you for having me on the final story.
Thank you, Lucas. You were fantastic.
See you all next time when we're fuming at the mouth.
Will you say that again, Lucas? Say that again, Lucas?
See you all next time when we're all fuming at the mouth because Veilguard finally released.
Hey, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Chat, round of applause for our good Lucas, our Executor, and Dreadwolf.
Thank you.
Dreadwolf.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you, Lucas.
Goodbye.
So the last thing is, how many people out of all of us think that Solus was telling the truth? Because I think he's bluffing.
I think he's bluffing. I mean, I think the way I did it, it probably sounds like he was definitely bluffing, but definitely bluffing. I mean, if there was a hypothetical meeting where you saw Talis, who, I mean, I'm not going to say it live. Nobody wants to see it live, I'm joking. With Xenon the Aquanarium, or Aquaquarian, or Antiquarium. Yeah, that one.
Antiquarian?
That's the one. You knew. Yeah, Zenon, Felicia Day's character, Talis, whatever she's called. Divine Justinia, or Divine Victoria, sorry. The Grey Warden Commander. Who else? Isabella. Like, Lemor and Limerin just hanging about. It sounds too good to be true. Could be true.
I guess I mean whether or not he has Delirium Idol or not. That's what I mean. I don't think he
feel
has
like-
it.
Yeah, because I feel like the story is true, but he might have just left out some details.
Yeah.
Some important details.
I think at that point he didn't have it, and I think that's why he was there, to see if he could find out who had it. Because why else would... Besides, yes, he wants to know what they do know. You know a lot. But I feel like he gets it moments after that. Because we know he's going to get it, because if we assume heavily he's going to get it. Because it's the Red Lyrian blade that is from the idol, and that's his that's his blade. And we know that he's going to hunt down... We know that before the ritual in Navarra, he hunts down Tractus Denarius and kills him. And then there's a Navaran nobleman who runs out with the idol. That's the ending of the Navaran story. So what happens then? So I think parts of it may have been true, but I don't think he had the idol at this current point.
No. I think he wanted to throw the Inquisition off the trail. I don't
Yeah.
think he wanted them as a player in the game. Because he does hold them with a certain higher regard. Like, he's soft on them, and he knows that if they enter the hunt, then he's going to have to consider them as a threat like the others that are on the hunt for it. He doesn't want that. So I think it was sort of like a subtle warning to be like, hey, back off.
Oh, that's a good idea too. Yeah, like to actually see what they do know and be like, right, okay, this is actually... No.
Well, if he makes them believe he already has it, then
Yeah, they'll be
they
able to try.
stop looking.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they just refocus on him. So
It's
I don't
kinda
know. When I
just
first
checking
read
in.
this back in 2020, that's what I initially thought. And it's
Yeah.
some
It's
odd
like-
reason that's held up for now.
It's like he's just checking in
Mm-hmm.
without directly
Right.
checking in, but he's just like, okay, so what do you know? As opposed to going up to the Inquisitor, obviously, because heartbroken. And, well, obviously, Llewellyn would absolutely want him back, but in a way where he can do it regardless of your relationship with the Inquisitor. He's still like, right, what do they know? What's happened since then? Because I wish we had a timeline for this book. We do a little bit. Okay,
Yeah.
we can work it out based on Dark Fortress, but still, it's like, I think I did put it down in my massive video, but I can't remember what date I said. But that's the thing about a timeline. How long has it been since Trespasser where he's checking in like, okay, what's going on? What do you know? What's happened since then? But we don't overtly...
Side note, I do like that you said tell her I'm sorry.
Ah, yeah. I think I
Loved
had to,
that.
Yeah, I had to do
Yeah,
that.
same.
Yeah. I don't think anybody was going to be upset about me changing the lyric.
No.
Yeah.
We were actually very happy about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely importing my Soul Llewellyn to Veilguard straight away. Give me
100%.
yes. Give me that drama, the closure, all of it. Let's see
Give
what we
me the
can
pain,
do. The
the
pain,
agony,
the tragedy, the suffering,
the
everything.
yearning.
The yearning. The yearning. We have waited.
My canon is Solar Velen, so yeah.
As it should be. As it should be.
Yes.
It would be cute to see other romance options pop up though, if that is considering that's a choice. It's like, okay, I can see my Inky with Josephine, and they're all happy together, and that's brilliant. That would be cute. Because otherwise, what's the point in making, unless besides the Solas choice, what's the point in having your romance option who you romanced in Inquisition, unless it's just
Right,
dialogue.
and actually
Like,
importing that choice.
as a big choice, considering it's one of the three. Sorry, why so big? Unless there's another reason. I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. But yes,
I
so
still can't believe it's only a week away.
Just
yeah,
reading through the chat
Yeah.
as much as
Yeah.
I can.
it's hitting me now that we've actually finished Rook Club and Tevinter Nights, because this has absolutely flown by. The days have gone slow, but the weeks of doing this is insane that we've done this so quickly. Like, I know it's been since July, but bloody hell, it has flown by.
It really has.
Yeah.
We've gone through 15 stories, which is insane.
Wow. It doesn't feel like it though.
No.
I don't want this to end.
No.
Neither do I, but
No, neither do
And like, I know
Alas.
we're getting Veilguard next week.
I know.
So it's like,
I know.
you know, but still,
I know.
what are we gonna do on Wednesdays now?
I don't
We need a new
Try.
book, Byler.
I don't know. In the words of Taylor
Listen, for a while, at least those Wednesdays will be dedicated to the Veilguard, but afterwards.
After, yeah, like in the new year, I've got a Taylor Swift quote. Let me get the Taylor Swift quote. Sorry, not quote.
I mean, there's the other novels.
There's Hard and Hightown we could do.
There's the comics.
Mm-hmm.
We should so do Hard and Hightown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard and Hightown. Let me get the quote from T Swizzle. I should know it off by heart, and I do.
T Swizzle.
Yeah, it's my pet name for her because we're buddies, as you know. Most fun I've ever had, and I'd do it over and over and over again if I could. It just felt so good. There you go.
Aww.
I do feel kind of sad right now, I'm not gonna lie.
No, we're supposed to end excited, not sad. No.
I mean, insert
Yeah,
excitement here.
I feel invigorated. I think it's from all the tea, though.
Tea?
There you go.
All the tea, the caffeine. No stirrup day. Oh God, people are gonna take that the wrong way again.
No,
Anyway.
no.
Let them. Just leave it there.
Stirrups, as in horses, everyone. There's nothing nefarious going on in the back.
Long live all the memories we made, Dammer. I had the time of my life fighting dragons with you. Taylor Swift is a dragon. I'm sorry. What's the word? Side note. No, it's pivot. Taylor Swift is a Dragon Age. A Dragon Ager. What's a Dragon Age called? What's a Dragon Ager called? A Dragon Ager? A DAer? An Ager? A Dragoner? You know, like you got a Swiftie.
Wasn't like a Dragon Age fan?
No, but yeah. Like what's the pet name for a Dragon Age fan?
A dragon Stan? Stan? Wait,
Dragonstone.
Dragon
We
Stan?
are all
Yeah.
Theodosians.
Theodosians. Yeah. Taylor Swift is a Theodosian. That should be my next video, examining every lyric and showing you that she absolutely is. She absolutely is.
Yes.
And she's a Solar Bellin as well. I guarantee it. Waxy, no! I am. What's everybody's... What did people think of the book, then? What did they think of the Dreadwolf Take You?
Are you asking us to rate it like out of 10 or just general impressions?
You can give me a rating if you'd like to. It's shorter than I thought it was, actually. But I suppose that's because you have literal... Well, I mean, that's because all of the text is unparagraphed and it's all dialogue, which I love.
10,
Yeah.
because soulless. And there's so much focus on his lips, so it's a 10 out of 10 from me. You know, Trick
It's
specifically
true.
talks about his full lips.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it is true.
Yeah. I want to say a 10 out of 10. It feels unfair.
I mean, it's
But I
freaking
really-
spot on, isn't it?
It's a great story. I really enjoyed it. And I
It's
like
spot
how
on.
the characters all have their own drinks that are like specific to them.
Yes.
I just like that we have Solus doing a Norwegian accent. Yeah, no,
That's the thing,
this
the
is one of my
imagery.
favorite stories.
The things it gives us
Yeah.
as well, even though it's tiny. The tea house, as a Navarin tavern, I have literally named my Discord server that because I thought, iconic. First of all, because I love freaking tea. Hilarious because Solas hates tea. And the fact that he's got tea and it's telling you all along the Orlesian Bard didn't touch his tea. He's touched barely any of it. And it's like, Sage comes in. Would anybody like any more refreshments? No mercy. Straight away. Nope. I've got my tea. I'm all right. Like the little tiny indications is fantastic. I love it. I love it.
And at that point, it would have long gone cold. So
Exactly.
he didn't even want
Right.
to heat it back up. He's like,
Just-
nope, it's just there.
He's
That
like,
was
just
one
an
of my
accessory.
favorite parts
like he's
of the entire
teasing.
story.
he's
Was
teasing
Charter
Shanta.
noticing that.
Yeah.
The more you read it, the more little hints you notice, and that's just great. It's been a while since I read this story, And now that we've read it again, it's like, yeah, if you pay close attention, you can actually tell that it's soulless.
Yeah.
You can if you reread. And I mean, after I got this book just for the last chapter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I heard I was spoiled that Solus was in it, and I reread it a couple times over and over again just to see if I could figure out if it was him or not. I think that Solus, in hindsight, should have probably ordered wine or something else, because I think it would have thrown Charter off a bit. Because then she wouldn't be looking at the tea. So, I mean, I think he overthought it just a little bit.
He did.
Just a little too much.
Yeah.
But that's also
Sounds like Solus overthinking.
Yeah.
I like how Inquisition does this as well. If you replay Inquisition, there is a few obvious signs that Solus is not who he says he is. He's more than just a random hobo elf. That's just great.
And I love the facade of also like him, Charter noticing the Orlesian's like hair was different, styled differently, almost as if like she'd. Oh yeah, and also the name is the French name Gauche or Gaucher, which apparently means, what does it mean in French? I think it means fake or something.
Gosh,
Gauche means.
What does it mean in French?
It means. I looked it up before because I wanted to know how to pronounce it. It means like. Let me re-Google it because.
I just googled it and it says
It's
left.
not the paint, is it? Gouache paint.
So gouge, the meaning is that it's crude, lacking in social experience or grace. That is what the internet tells me. That's what that means.
Yeah. And it shows that as a name. Yeah, it's the small.
There's also a type of paint called gouache. So I don't know if that's just how it's spelt in French. I don't know.
I thought is that the name? I thought Charter meant that the group that she's with is a gouge bunch of people, that they're awkward.
I thought gouche. I honestly thought that was the name that it was under. I can't, but again, I don't know. It's just how I interpret it.
Maybe.
I came to meet my friends and I say gosh, I don't know, gosh, party of five.
Yeah.
I think it could be gosh. It's under which means that Solas set again. If this is true, it would mean that Solas set the meeting up, which is even funnier, even more brilliant. But we don't know.
From what I understood, it was Charter that organized it.
Yeah.
But at least he set up the meeting at the tea house, at least he was the one that was like, okay, yeah, let's meet at the tea house. Or it's under his name. He somehow dialed up the tea house's number or went through the third and organized it. Again, I don't know. That's just my interpretation. It could mean something else completely different.
Yeah,
it's comma.
possible.
It's the
I'm
comma.
Not sure.
Gosh, party of five. But yeah.
I'm not sure how much more we can extract from that. Especially without really understanding the context or knowing what the word truly means in that context. I kind of wish it was more clear, just so we can know that.
Waxy
what
says
name...
it means cheap and street life because it's cheap paint. Cheap paint.
I like
for
gouache
broke
paint.
artists.
I used to use it a lot.
Oh.
But this is the story definitely I've read the most. I've used it a lot in my own stories because I think at the time it was kind of the only information we had, new information about Solus we had back in 2020.
Yes, and it revealed a lot.
Yeah.
Just
the
how he's been. He's tired. He's not a god. He's he's foolish. He admits he's foolish, but he also admits that what he believes is what he's doing is right still.
Well, you know what's interesting is he says himself in the Bard's Tale, I underlined it, but I didn't dog-ear the page. There it is. Oh, it says, this is all I know of the Dreadwolf, I am afraid. The idol's journey is now complete, and it has found its master. He will destroy anyone in his way without regret or hesitation. So he's almost, that's a warning. Right there.
Yeah,
He's warning everyone that he already has it. Don't come after it or I'll kill you.
Yeah.
And I'll do it without regretting it. So that's another theme of regret right there, except he's denying his regret. So that's interesting.
Regret before pride. Ooh. And then he's still sorry as well. At the end of it all, he's still sorry, and that's the last thing he says. Which is sad.
He is very
Yeah.
sad, isn't he?
He is.
Oh,
He is
Solas.
10 out of 10, because Solas is still sad.
that little wolf.
I want to see his ears a little droopy because he's so sad. Jack,
Yes, yeah.
chat would really like to know, what does Dragon Age mean to you?
Ooh. What does Dragon Age mean to me? Fundamentally, it means escapism, I think. Got into it from like the age of 14. How old am I now? I'm 26, and I got into it when in 2010. It means escapism overall. Being able to escape situations either in life or just enjoy a good bit of escapism in terms of of good content, characters, the dynamics of it. I don't really learn morality from video games, but I really enjoy the idea of just. I love the and don't take this the wrong way. The idea of being able to talk about like political themes in a video game. Obviously, you don't learn morality or politics from video games, but the idea of you can talk about things and character dynamics and all these things in a safer, in the right contained space, in safer spaces. So you can talk about like why you don't agree with Solas, why you do agree with Solas, all the kind of morally ambiguous conversations you can have that kind of feel really hard to have in real life. You can have them in contained in Dragon Age, and I really like the conversation aspects of that. I love the characters, ultimately. So many of them have guided me throughout my life, as cringy as that sounds, from Alice's quick wit to even silly goofball Ogren, who everybody hates. He is still... No, he's actually awful. No. All the characters, like so many characters have just guided me throughout times where I didn't really have many friends, or I needed that comfort or that escapism from Alistair to Liliana. I think Liliana was the first character I romanced in Dragon Age. I really gravitated towards her sweetness. To Solas, who I freaking love because he is so well written and beautiful and fantastic and understandable. You know, he's a god, but he, as he says himself, he's foolish, he's prideful, he's hot-headed. But all of his morality, I could talk about Solas for so long. I love his romance. I love that it isn't just a culmination of a sex scene. It's actually deep, ambiguous. Nothing wrong with it being if there were to be a sex scene, but I like how it's different, how there is more that dynamic of, these two people evidently love each other. There's that huge connection, but even removing her Valisleen is in some sensual way removing something that she can never get back, similar to a sex scene. It's so deep, profound, amazing. Love that dynamic. It's beautifully well written. Also, he reminds me of my favorite fictional character ever, the 10th Doctor, who is lonely, charming, but deeply lonely. And I love that dynamic. I love that David Tennant, the 10th Doctor, is the basis of Solas. The idea that he is this man out of time, that people can't relate to, in some weird, slightly relatable way. I can relate to being seen as different, weird, not typical, because I talk to people at work or whatever. I wear a tinfoil hat and I talk about my favorite video game franchise, and I've been doing it for 10 years, and they're like, "What? You are off it? You're mad? You're crazy? You're silly?" And I can relate to kind of being a bit of an outsider. I can relate to that on quite a deep, and also just the core values I have as a human being, quite traditional. Can kind of relate to feeling sometimes like an alien, so I kind of find relation in that. But the friendships it's also given me now, being able to create a YouTube channel, being inspired by Biofan, Ability Drain, Lady Insanity, Mr. Matty Plays, all people who I've talked to or who I have a mutual connection to. Having that community, the community now is the biggest thing what it means. So that's stuff that used to me, but now all in the community is where like it means to me so much every day. I'm not bothered about growing and having on loads of social media platforms and growing in the views and whatever. I just like the community I have right now. It's the best thing I've built on YouTube, from the Discord to the YouTube community. I'm not really bothered about the wider spread of of Twitter, of all the other social media platforms. It's the community that we've built for so long, and now to have it 8 days away from the Veilguard, it's enriching. It really is, and that's the people behind it all. Like Lisa, like Hev, like Emily, like everybody else in the tea house. You know, waking up and just having everybody, regardless of what people feel about the Veilguard, regardless of genuine critique, genuine criticism, regardless of the toxicity of places online, you know, from people who absolutely have a point and may be valid in their criticisms of the choice system, of the different art style, of the different combat system. It's nice to have a space where there is genuine criticism, but also that passion, that love at the same time. There is barely any fallout or issues on the server. It is fantastic. It's a lovely place to be, where people actually care about Dragon Age in so many faceted ways, and we can all have open, nice, heartwarming, authentic conversations, but nobody is bluntly a dick. Everybody's caring, considerate. We all have different opinions, but ultimately we all love Dragon Age for its own vast different reasons, and we're capable of understanding that and being able to converse that authentically and kindly. And that's the biggest thing. It's having a nice, kind community, because the internet can be an awful, horrible place. You know, I'm fortunately more immune to it than a lot of people. I've seen so many shit, awful, horrible things happen to other creators in the Dragon Age space, and it's absolutely diabolical. It's disgusting. If I had thumbnails of my face on there of people insulting my identity, I would be disgusted, and I would honestly consider closing my channel, or I would be very, very, very guarded. The fact that people can do that and have the strength is amazing and admirable. But you know, the community can be a really awful place, and I you know, I do get a fair bit of criticism from things like the content I produce, to my voice, to whatever, my own identity, whatever, and it can be hard. It can be really hard. But ultimately, the spaces that I do populate, the spaces that I do contribute to, are freaking amazing and worth it. And again, as cringy as it sounds, the light is always brighter than the darkness, than the things that are lurking out there in the internet. Not to sound ominous, but you know, but there is some awful criticisms out there about Dragon Age that I would never even cover on my channel. I don't even want to give it attention. So I just focus on the space that I have created and the positivity in that. And again, it's not like toxic positivity. It's not just we must support No, we got to call Bio out. We got to call EA out. Freaking all the time. EA charging £100 for FIFA next year is ridiculous. But you know, there's still that love for, you know, it's looking, again, calling out the controversy, calling out the layoffs, calling out the malpractices, ensuring that we have love and support for the Bioware team, the individual people who are working at the studio every day, who are, you know, in the face of layoffs, in the face of aggressions, microaggressions online, who are fundamentally going to their full-time job, their 9 to 5. I'm in a fortunate situation. I can go to my job, clock off at 5, and I don't think about it. Bioware devs go online and they are swarmed by so much, and people will be like, well, they're developers, they should be used to it. No, nobody in their position of work should have to face that, you know. So yeah, we call out the malpractices, we call it the shitty things that EA have done, because they've done a lot of shitty things. You know, it's been a 10-year development of the game, and I'm not saying that Bioware have been completely innocent in that either. So we call that stuff out. We call out, you know, parts of the marketing cycles that we don't like about the Veilguard. We call out things like the choice systems. Well, you know, we need to see what that's going to be like, but it doesn't sound like a good thing. And if you don't like the art style, I mean, you don't really need to call it out, but you can at least disagree with that. So we are authentic, but at the same time, there is that genuine love, and we all want a good Dragon Age game. There isn't this meandering of Bioware suck, they're never going to be what they used to be, and screw the developers and screw this, but there isn't any of that. And that fundamentally is something that I have wanted to articulate in 10 years. And that fact that we have it now with the game coming out, bearing in mind it's marred with, what's the word? Lots and lots of like different opinions, subjectivities. Like, we're still just going to wait and see. And if people like it, great. If people don't like it, that's fine. They don't have to play it. If people don't like a certain choice in a game or a certain character choice option, they don't need to choose it. Like, it's that simple. It doesn't need to be something else. But yes, that's what Dragon Age needs to be. Simply put.
Yeah.
Very well said. Very well said,
yeah.
indeed.
Thank you. Yeah, no.
I love it when you go off like that.
I did tell everybody in like Rook Club 2 that if we get to the end of this, I will tell people what Dragon Age means to me. So I do remember I think it was Shelley Bean did say, Jack, what does it mean to you? I did say that in one of the first episodes, so I do appreciate you asking me and reminding me as well, because yeah, it's something that I've asked everybody who's come on as a new person doing a character that very question. So it is nice to answer it again, even though I do feel like I've said all that stuff before. Still, it's nice to reiterate it even more so.
Absolutely. We should put you in the hot seat more often. Next question, Jack. What do beans mean to you?
Oh,
Oh dear. Oh no. Oh, here we go.
Okay. That you know, I can explain it simply. You know, Ratatouille. You know the ending of Ratatouille, where the guy eats the ratatouille and he flashes back to having the best ratatouille of his life back at home in his little homestead with his mum making him that ratatouille. That's what beans do to me every single time. That's okay, Emily. We're just talking about beans now. We went from my deep love of Dragon Age to beans.
Oh. Maybe that's why my computer went down.
The computer craves the beans.
I have nothing else running. I bought this thing in 2022. It has 2 terabytes. There is no reason this thing should overheat and die from Discord. I'm so mad right now. I can't tell.
Oh, flippin' heck. Did it just die then? Flippin' heck.
It overheats twice. It has overheated twice. Luckily, it waited to the end of the stream. But yeah, this is literally it will actually overheat and die with Microsoft Word too. So I don't know.
Oh really?
Microsoft Word kills this thing. I can only imagine what League of Legends or The Sims 4 or Dragon Age would do.
Yeah.
Really blow up.
God.
Justin says he loves a mad Emily.
We'll get used to it because it's probably gonna go again in the next 5 minutes. So even more mad. It's okay. I have another computer. It's just I can't use it for Discord either because for some odd reason, the first time I used that computer, remember, Jack, and it cuts me out of Discord.
Yeah.
There's no solution here. I don't want to buy a third computer.
That felt like it was so long ago. Even though I just said Rook Club has been so quick, that did feel like it was a while ago. That was like the second or third one though.
Yeah, that was the second one because you did the first one. Oh no, it was the third one. It was the third. You did the first one by yourself. The second one was with Lucas, and then the third one I joined in.
Yeah.
That actually does feel like a long time ago.
It does.
What? Yeah, I just saw that comment. It's from Justin as well.
Oh yeah, Justin.
Oh my god.
Darling mommy.
I am just fed up with my computers, to be honest. But that is me most days. I'm screaming at it. If you've seen me in the fanfic channel where I'm just screaming at my computers, that is me most of the time. Because in Microsoft Word sometimes it doesn't automatically save. So I've had to rewrite some things a couple times, and at that point I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna let this sit here and I'm gonna go stress eat some Halloween candy because I have it already.
Oh yeah?
So I'm gonna do that. Oh yeah,
what sort of Halloween candy have you got?
So my father and I were a bit of a connoisseur of candy. We go to Walmart.
Yeah.
Super Walmart. And then we fill up our carts. I was gonna
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
No, we got story time with Emily.
You fill up your carts and then
Emily,
what?
No, what happened, Emily? What happened?
What happens next?
No.
Tell us.
No.
She just said it's gone.
We're waiting. What did she fill them up with? Oh no,
It's
Emily.
died. Oh no.
I can't do this. I need to know.
I know what she filled them up with.
Jelly beans.
Beans. Emily, come back. You ever played that game where you have to write half a story and you pass it on to your friends and they finish the story?
Okay, let's
She's
finish
back.
the story
She's
then.
back. Emily's back.
Is she?
I'm on my phone. I've given up. So I don't know what I sound like on here. But anyway, we had to get they have like mixes of candy But if we don't have like Twix or something inside the mix, then we buy the Twix bag separately. I have a picture of all the candy, actually. Oh my god. I don't know if I should share it because I think it's kind of damning.
Okay.
But you know, never. It's not just mine. It's so my parents will give out candy at their house, and then I'll give candy out at my house. So let me share it. The cart full of candy from Walmart that I've also been eating. Because let's be honest, we're gonna eat it too.
I bloody love a Twix.
Yeah. Oh, I have a funny story about Twixes, but I don't think it's
My God.
appropriate to say on stream.
What?
Good
How bad
lord.
could it be?
Look at that. I kind of have to say it now, don't I?
What do you do with Twixes, Jack?
So I have a twin brother, and we found out that he was allergic to Twixes because they give. As twin brothers do, you do chase your brother down with something that makes him allergic to and make him eat it. And let's just say he didn't have a good experience. No, not like deathly. He's not actually allergic. They just give him the shits.
Okay.
Oh,
He's
okay.
not actually allergic, but yes.
An intolerance.
He's just had a weird intolerance to it. Anyway, moving on.
You're a menace.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of candy.
That
looks
is
good,
incredible.
Though. It
Yeah.
looks good though.
Oh, it is good because I've been eating it. So
Reese's Cups.
when I said I had to go stress eat candy, that's the pile I took from. So there's that. It's okay. You know what? All the sugar gave me the energy to rewrite that section and absolute anger and rage. And it works. It's fine. It's already out there in the ether. People can go read it if they want to suffer my run-on sentences.
I can
Suffer the run-on
also-
sentences.
I can really recommend using Google Docs. I think someone in the chat also pointed out. You just write in there, and it's like Word, but it gets saved to the internet, just to your Google Drive. So if
Sure.
your computer shuts down, it should be saved.
Yeah.
I did move it to Google Docs, so it is
Okay.
safe now. I moved
Okay,
it
good.
after that. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
done. I used Google Docs in the past, but I don't know. I just have this weird nostalgia for Microsoft Word. It's probably not
Fair.
all that intelligent to keep using it, but here I am. Russian roulette every time.
Big up Google Docs in chat. Are we twins?
See, I can't
we
read
could be
that.
twins. What's your name, Zer? What is your name, Zer? Villainous Kitty says, for the love of God, use Google Docs writers. And then Dharma says, I write on Word.
You know, I'm paranoid. I always use Google Docs for my scripts.
I do use Google Docs. I used to use Word, and then I was converted to Google Docs. Just the autosave. Yeah,
I used
big
it in
up.
the past.
Yeah.
It's just more tabs I have open. There's already 89. I mean, that might be the
What?
reason why you're over. Let's listen.
Oh my god.
Okay, I think you have just answered your own question about why your computer overheats.
Listen.
It's your
Yeah,
damn
all right,
tab.
yes. Okay, but I didn't have the tabs open for the reading. They weren't there. They only were there when I was writing in Word for the other scenarios. And yes, I can understand. And I have other things up. Like sometimes I have Illustrator and Photoshop and iTunes and Spotify. I'm kind of my own problem. I do realize that. I'm not absolved of that. But still, I feel like it should be able to handle me. I want something to be able to handle me.
How much
my
memory
problem.
do you have on your computer?
I don't know. I need to figure that out, actually. Let me turn it back on.
You should probably check that.
Imagine if it's like
I
4 gig of RAM.
Yeah.
She's got like all these programs running at once.
Haven says, iTunes!
I like to multitask. I'm sorry. I like to do everything all at once, all the time.
Relatable.
Yeah, that is relatable.
Oh, most of those 89 tabs are just horses for sale that I'll never buy. I can just keep
Aw.
watching.
I was going to say, are a few of them horse picks?
Yeah, well, there are horses for sale in my area that I'm always looking at the market. Not that I can afford one at the moment, but I like to watch. All right, let's see. How much RAM is in this thing? How do I find that out?
You can just check it if you open Task Manager and then go to the what's the tab? The Performance tab, and you can check it. And then you go to Memory.
Performance. Memory. It says oh god. It says the memory's running at 27%. But how do I? Oh, wait.
So at the top right, you see how much gigabyte you have.
It doesn't show me that.
Oh, what? Because let me send a screenshot of mine.
Haven's scared to hear the answer.
I mean, I do sort of abuse my equipment.
Do you need to go into settings and then system and then device specifications or something like that? And it should have all the...
I don't know, I just go to Task Manager and then Performance, the Performance tab. And then if you click on Memory and then the top right, it should say how much gigabyte you have.
Oh, I found it. Okay, let me see. Wow, this is a scale. It's a memory is. It's 39.7 gigabytes.
Should be fine then.
That's what I have nothing running right now except for Discord because I turned it back on. So.
But is that your total memory or?
I have no idea. I'm not good with this stuff. I should be, but I'm not. Why don't you know what? I'm gonna screenshot it.
Okay.
Hopefully this thing doesn't. If
It
I
goes
press
up in
this
different
button.
increments, doesn't it? It's like 8, 16, 32, 64.
Yeah. I've got
Well,
32.
it should be. It should be like there should be a button on here that actually tells me that because I never took the stickers off of it because I just don't.
Chat is so invested.
Chat is invested. Chat is
On my
incredible.
TV.
Chat is
Such
incredibly
a-
invested.
It won't let me take a screenshot of it. You little bitch. You have one job. You have one job. You little shit. Oh, you mean you want to
It's not like
screenshot
Lucas now. It's not like Lucas.
I get very mad at this thing. I get very mad at my technology, and it's not letting me take a fucking screenshot. Oh, I got it.
Hey.
This is gonna take a very long time because I have like 8,000 screenshots, so it's got to load all of them.
If
I know, I'm
you use
not-
snipping tool, you can just snap a picture of a specific part of your screen.
It wouldn't let me do that at the moment.
Okay.
Otherwise, you guys will have it much faster. Listen, I'm not helping myself here with what I'm revealing about my computer practices.
It's okay, no worries.
I'm actually known as a computer destroyer. I've gone through a lot in my life because, you know, when you play The Sims 4, you need to have 80,000 mods. That's the only reason. That's the only what makes it worth it, to be honest. So there's that. But it's okay. The other aces can take it sometimes. It hasn't crashed The Sims 4 too often. So I think I'm heading in the right direction. Now it's got to load them all again. I'm sorry. I'm keeping everyone in
suspense.
Suspense, yeah.
It was first the cart. It was the cart full of beans. I mean, sorry, Halloween treats, and now it's the ram.
Yeah,
Head empty, beans only.
It's got to load all of them, and now it's not responding. Sorry. The screenshot folder. Oh, wait. Here we go. Problem is, if I enter this chat... You know what? I have an idea. You might hear two of me. So what I'm going to do is I am going to mute myself.
I really do love how invested chat is.
Chat is incredibly invested. Demanding a laptop cooler pad.
I love that comment. Calling it now. Emily is exceeding the memory. Anyone who's just tuning in now, thinking, "Oh, cool, let's talk about Dragon Age."
This is now Tech Club.
Tech support.
Whatever we were
Yep.
before, we are now Tech Club.
Yeah, have you tried turning it off and on again?
I've heard that works.
I'm just gonna take a picture with my phone because this is just not.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the fail. Yeah, it's being a little bitch right now. So, I mean, not that I blame it. It's not very nice. I don't know what you can glean.
Is losing her mind.
Yeah.
It does have random spikes. I don't know what it's spiking because the only thing that's running is Discord. I mean, okay, you're going to see Chrome down there, but it's not actually. It's just one tab.
You've got your CPU selected, so you want to click on the thing below that, which is memory.
Oh, I'm a dumbass. Okay, yeah, I found it. I'll take another picture.
All right. Sorry, Haven.
I'm sorry for everyone. I'm sorry for everyone that's here. Focus, you little bitch. You have one job.
Jackie's sharing this on stream.
I have to. Haven has to see it.
No, I love it. I just
Chat has to see, but we're invested.
I am confused by that 39.7 gig memory.
30 gigabytes. It says I have
Okay,
40.
You've got 40. Huh.
That's unusual, right?
What's
As
going
far
on
as
here?
I know, yeah. 2 of 8 slots.
I also don't know any of this stuff, to be honest.
I mean, I honestly also know just the basics, but yeah.
Oh no, quick Google.
Oh, well.
You can get them in 40 gigs, so that is interesting. That should be more than enough.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Right?
Memory
See,
is not the
it
issue,
can
I
handle
don't think.
I am not the problem. Reminds me of that
that's
Taylor
more
Swift
than I
song
have.
where she says, maybe the problem is me. It's not me. It's not me, Taylor.
No,
It's not
it's true.
I'll just probably have to get a cooling pad for it. I do have one, but it's for the other laptop. I have it with me, actually. But I don't know if it's going to cool it down enough. So, oh well. I'm sorry we've diverted into this
No,
in your
no.
live stream.
It was a good diversion, to be honest.
Just maybe close a few tabs. Just a few.
Yeah.
Toby
There's none
thinks
open right now.
Toby
There's
thinks
none.
that your computer has the blight.
Well,
Or
I've certainly written about the light enough.
Are you using Chrome?
What if your
I-
laptop
Chrome
doesn't like
is very
Solas?
heavy.
What if your laptop like hates Solas and it's like, no, you will not.
Okay, I'm gonna out myself. So I'm actually sometimes I have Chrome up, but right now it's AVG secure browser. I don't even know what that is, but I've been using it since I got this.
I also don't know what that is.
Neither do I. I've never heard of that browser before.
Use Firefox.
Firefox is still a thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
F's
Well,
in the chat.
at least it's not
I-
Microsoft Edge.
I am using Chrome as well, so I'm not judging, but I know Chrome can be kind of a bitch to
Yeah,
use.
it's kind of a
It's-
heavy horse.
Yeah.
Kitty says you've already outed yourself now, Emily.
Ah,
Chat is so wildly entertaining right now.
Yeah.
well, yes. I know. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. We've
But it's not.
ended Rook Club with Emily's computer dying and it has the blight.
You know what? The sad part is, we started Rook Club with it dying.
We did. We
That
did.
just come full
Full
circle.
circle. Yes. Oh. Oh, look at that. That was unintended, pure wholesomeness.
Yes, it's just culminated into this. So I think it's just giving us a nice little performance of, look what I can do. I still remember.
I remember. Yeah.
It's great.
Oh.
I'll try to treat it better. I'll try.
Miss Potatino had a really comically timed in Inquisitor's voice. What's going on here?
Yeah, yeah. Before we wrap up, I'm going to try and thank everybody who has participated in a Rook Club. And I apologize if I don't remember everybody. I'm looking through the Discord. So, I want to thank Songbird, Tiny Kunari, Haven, Awkward Nooble, Starlight, Dryden's #1 simp. That's a NSFW name. That's YouTube now. Fairy Wing, of course, Lisa, Emily, Lucas, Venom, DeCaster, scrolling, Half Pint, Waxy. I think I already said Waxy. I can't remember. All the stars. And everybody else who has joined me for Rook Club. It is massively appreciated for everybody who has literally willingly wanted to come on here and voice act so many characters. Like, genuinely, when I started this, I didn't think people were even that interested. But then Emily, Justin, you get a special shout out, Justin, like that. Yeah, Emily was the one who told me that like so many people were interested, and I was like, oh really? And I didn't realize until then I opened the floodgates, and so many people were so interested. So I really appreciate everybody completely changing the perception of Rook Club around from me going just to doing these characters in the first stream to myself, struggling to manage all the voices, so then having Lucas's and Emily's help, to then literally so many people coming aboard and having literally like 10 people in one stream at one point, collectively losing our marbles over the voices, the performances shared. So I really, really, really appreciate everybody who's wanted to come on. It just really, really has been so wholesome. And honestly, not even trying to be cringy, but like the best moments of this channel in 8 years. It's been pure fun. And I couldn't have thought of a better way to prepare for the Veilguard like with this, to be honest. Like, I know could have made more news videos in the end, could have recapped more lore, could have done a few other things that I really, that I could have got ready for the Veilguard, but I honestly thought this was perfect, so fun, and the best thing to get ready for the Veilguard, but just to have some fun, regardless of what is, I know I'm predominantly a news channel, but regardless of the news, it was so fun to really, really enjoy existing Dragon Age material in such a completely different way. Like, going through all of these stories, I went with this, going through this, like, actually, that one's my favourite story. No, actually, that one's my favourite story. No, actually, that one's my favourite story. And I'm now like, bloody hell, even like an Old Crow's old trick, which I genuinely wasn't looking forward to, was freaking amazing with so many people doing the voices. And even Harold had the plan. I was like, yeah. And then like having, for example, Waxy as Panstot, it was brilliant. So like, it's really changed my perception on a lot of these stories. It's been so much more digestible as well. And just so freaking fun. So, massive shout out, and I apologise if I missed anybody out. It's just trying to think, DeCaster, don't you dare. I apologise if I missed everybody out. But really, thank you all so much for wanting to join Rook Club and offer me your sweet voices for one of these many characters. And chat is going feral.
Jack, you deserve the biggest shout out of everybody for doing this and for giving everyone the chance to take part in it, because you've I know I'm not the only one that has like this newfound confidence after taking part in Rook Club.
Yeah.
And just being a complete menace in live chat and having fun and making you break as much as possible on stream. And it just thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you so much for this.
It's honestly been made by the community, for everybody in chat joining weekly, to people like DeCaster, Emily, Lisa, Lucas, Venom, people who wanted to join up, and people who just wanted to have absolute pure unbridled fun. And then the confidence level that people have had just to really showcase their own talents with these voices has been so fun to see. It's really helped me do the read as well, to be honest, because I normally start it a bit rocky, and then I'll hear Haven's voice, for example, and I'll be like, oh, actually, LB as well just came to me there. Again, shout out to LB. And I'm like, actually, I feel so much more confident and secure now, surrounded by everybody else who wants to do the same thing as me. So yeah, it's gained arms and legs, and it's been so much more fun with so many people. And of course, as Villainous Kitty says, the thirsting.
Naked Solus, his toes. Such good times.
It's every episode has been peak, to be honest, and I'm glad that we've ended on such a brilliant story. But I'm also sad for what comes next because I don't know what I'm going to do next Wednesday. We'll see. But yeah, get ready for the Veilguard. But how does one get ready for the Veilguard? They read the books.
We waited for it for so long, and now that it's finally here, we don't know what to do with ourselves.
It's true. It's true.
For real.
What do we do?
Tea House voice chat party on Wednesday night.
That's a good idea. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
I mean, there's also lots of, I don't know about your areas, but like there's Halloween events going on, I assume. But I mean, I know that can hardly entice you when thinking about what you'll be doing Thursday night. Making your player character finally, your rook. But I mean, this weekend will be pretty full.
That's true.
At least for myself. Like I said earlier, I'm trying to enjoy the season as much as I can. October is a favorite month.
Yeah.
So lots of Renfest, lots of Halloween parties are happening uptown. So those types of things I'm going to try to do before I know that I'm going to be stuck in my house for the next maybe 2 months. Not talking to anyone.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm trying to get it all out of the way now.
Yeah.
So that November hits, you guys won't see me. Goodbye. Sayonara.
Oh, no. Yeah. Off to...
So get outside now, kids.
Enjoy it while you can, because in a week and a bit...
You won't be seeing the sun anymore.
Get vitamin D tablets, because you're going to need them.
Mm-hmm.
I need those anyway.
Yeah. Get even more.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, with that, unfortunately, we are metaphorically and physically closing the final page of Tevinter Nights because we finished it, and we're going to see where we're going to go next with Rook Club in the new year because we've got the Veilguard coming out in a week. Bittersweet. It is very bittersweet. This has been so fun. I really, really appreciate every single one of you who has joined, made this so enjoyable on my Wednesdays coming home from work and being like, ugh, work, and then being like, Rook Club. Genuinely, it's been the most exciting day of the week. And it's been a Wednesday, the middle of the week when everybody already hates the week. Only joking. But the work week. So no, I really appreciate every single one of you joining in the chat and signing up for this. Yeah, we'll see what we're going to do in the new year. With the Veilguard, I will be streaming that. Second playthrough, so whenever I finish that will be a new plan to stream, and I think I will choose Wednesday. But it will be lonely. There will not be people joining me, I don't think. I don't know. I haven't thought about that far. If people would even want to join me play the Veilguard, I don't know. But yeah, I'll think of something for the future of JACKDAUDIBLE'S Rook Club. Bioware just released another book simultaneously with the Veilguard. That'd be brilliant. But no, again, really, really thank you all so much. Yeah, what are you going to say, Emily?
I just want to say thank you, Jack, for allowing the fandom to participate in this opportunity to read the story online. And I think it really did. I mean, I could be quoting lots of people by saying this. It really did bring the fandom together in a way that I think it hasn't been brought together in a while.
Yeah.
So,
no, thank you.
Thank you for opening the floodgates. Because I think we all need
it.
Yeah. No, thank you for inspiring me to do it. Again, thank you, because you were the one, Emily, that was like, actually, people want to read. I was like, really? Yeah, if it wasn't for you, it would have been me, Lucas. I would have got Lisa along. But I didn't even realize the intention that people had. And that was amazing. And it's made it what it is now. So, yeah, it's purely been so much fun. With that.
All the chaos, all the fun, all the beans. All the Swifties.
All of it culminating what has only been 15 weeks, but it feels like it has been obviously a culmination of the channel and the 10-year wait of the Veilguard anyway. But it has all culminated really tangibly in the past 15 weeks, or I should say 16, because we took 1 week off. Well, then we did 2 stories in the past couple of months since starting Rook Club. But it's been so fun. And I am going to put one or two snippets of Rook Club in my new tribute video, which is coming out when I edit it this weekend. That will be a fun video.
Ooh, nice.
That people can see. I've got a few clips of me and you as well, Lisa, from Lambo stuff.
Yeah.
It's just a tangible overview of the weight and then my channel over 8 years. The lows, the highs, the ups, the downs, and then everything in between. It's just a fun tribute video. To be like, right, this has been what my channel's made for. The moment's here, and now what do we do? I don't know. But yeah, that'd be good. That should be a nice, fun tribute video to get us ready for the Veilguard, or just to be like, shit, we really have waited that long for this game, and it has actually been 10 years of our lives combined. Yeah, that'd be good.
That sounds like that's going to be really special.
Yeah, it's been a video I've tried to make decent. Not too cheesy, but also decent. But, I mean, I am cheesy. I can't stop being cheesy, because it's just who I am.
You need to up the cheese.
Who am I to disagree? Sweet dreams are made of cheese. Anyway.
Oh my god.
With that, have that fun cheese pun, and I will see you all. I might stream tomorrow. We'll see. I was going to think of doing a week till the Veilguard stream. Maybe. We'll see. But thank you all so much again. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next Rook Club, whenever we get around to that. But for now, of course, you are in the right place for the latest on the Veilguard. And if you're in a tea house, I will see you later on. We can chat about whatever's next and the Veilguard and whatever else. But yes, thank you all for joining, and we will see you later on. Goodbye.
Goodbye.